San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And a happy Thursday to everybody out there in America's finest city. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Glad to have all of you guys joining us today as we are off and running on a Thursday. Lots of Padres baseball to talk about. You know what? We keep getting more and more information. It's great. Getting ready before actual position players show up. And by the way, a week from tomorrow, we got a spring training game. How about that? Already. We got a spring training game ready to go. Looking forward to it. I'm excited to get to some actual baseball. I mean, bullpens are great. And I said this yesterday. You get excited about spring training when pitchers and catchers report, and then you're like, okay, it's been like 5 or 6 days of this. And then you're like, hey, look, all the position players are here. And then there's like a couple days of that. And you're like, okay, well, they need to start playing some games now. And then they finally start playing games, right? And then you're like, oh, okay, well, they only still getting like a couple of at-bats. And then they finally get like the full showing, and it's like mid-March, and you're like, all right, why are we still playing these games? There's so many of these games that we have to get to. So we will see how this plays out. But I do like the fact that we got a lot of information coming out. So we're going to talk a lot of Padres baseball today. And I feel like at this point, with each coming day, closer to opening day, we are just building more and more Padres stuff on the show each and every day. So we're going to talk a lot of Padres baseball. We're going to focus on the rotation here in the first hour. Craig Stammen met with the media, talked a lot about the rotation, on a lot of questions about who's probably in the rotation, who he's relying on the rotation, and who's in competition to join the starting rotation. We got some insight on what could Brian Hoeing's role potentially be this season. We're going to have Brock Ungricht on, San Diego Toreros baseball head coach. They're out in Charlotte. They're going to start their season off tomorrow. College baseball starts tomorrow. So we actually do have real games happening here in San Diego in college baseball. Softball has already started, so that's like the little bit of a tease that we have going into baseball season. We will have Brock Ungricht on today, USD Baseball's head coach. We will have Coach Vance on for tomorrow. He will be joining us, San Diego State Baseball's new head coach. He'll be joining us tomorrow to preview their season. They're the only school that's actually home this weekend when it comes to the local D1 universities for baseball. USD is at Charlotte. San Diego State is hosting Long Island. And then UCSD, they're locked in. Eric Newman and company are locked into having to play the #1 team in the country. So good luck to them on that. We got some storylines heading into spring training that we still haven't gotten to yet. We'll talk about the 11 o'clock hour, mostly 11 o'clock hour too, as we get some developments. AJ Preller met with the media. We're going to play some sound on him or from him. We got some great stuff from Craig Stammen as well that we're going to get in the 11 o'clock hour. I know we are frantically trying to, well, not really frantically, but quickly trying to post as much of that content as possible on social media. And again, as Sam Levitt said yesterday, if you haven't done so already, follow us on all social media platforms at 97.3 The Fan SD. You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow us on Instagram. I mean, that's where most of the content is going to be pushed for spring training. All of the full clips of these press conferences are on YouTube. Go to 97.3 The Fan SD on YouTube. You'll be able to find all the content. And when you get to the front page of 97.3 The Fan on YouTube, and again, it's easy. You go to youtube.com and then / at 97.3 The Fan SD. And when you do that, it'll pull up our page. And on the front page, it will have videos for you and everything like that. But also it will give you an opportunity to subscribe to 97.3 The Fan. And when you subscribe to 97.3 The Fan, you get all of that information pushed out to you. It's free to do. Also, you can subscribe individually to all of our shows. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers here on the Braden Surprenant Show. We're up to 685 now, so appreciate all of you guys doing that because we broadcast on the Braden Surprenant Show page as well. But if you go on at 97.3 The Fan, youtube.com/@97.3 The Fan, all of the videos will be posted on there. You will have tons of the daily media sessions and everything else that's posted, from the Padres. So there's tons of that you can get to, tons of content to get to. And again, the first thing on there, you have our live show, What's Live Now, but also it has our shows, and you can hit subscribe to Ben and Woods, to the Braden Surprenant Show, to Gwen and Chris, Sam Levitt, Matt Scraby, and help out everybody's channel as well. So really appreciate you guys doing that. It helps us, and it's free for you guys to do, and it just gives you more content on a daily basis. So you can have everything right there as soon as you go on the YouTube app. It's pretty great. So we're going to talk about the starting rotation here in a little bit. We had here's what I was locked into college basketball yesterday. USD got a pretty good win. USD did last night. They were able to beat Portland. Portland, by the way, Frank, Portland's got. Have you heard the story about Portland basketball?
I have not. No.
Portland basketball has had a lot of, I would say, adversity, if you will.
Okay.
Due to injuries at the beginning of the season, they had a player that transferred in to be a coach. As a grad assistant. So they had a guy that played at like Pacific, Oregon Pacific or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he graduates from whatever D2, D3 school he was at. He comes over to Portland to be a grad assistant, to start his coaching career. They have so many injuries, they have to activate him onto the roster.
Okay.
He has an extra year of eligibility. He had one more year of eligibility left. Sam Noland, who is a grad student. He's listed as graduate student. He went to Pacific Lutheran. He comes over. He's done playing college basketball, and it's now due to injuries. He has to get pressed into action and be a player for Portland. The guy, and he was part of the team. He was part of the game. He's played 5 games now, 6 games this season. He played last night. He was part of the game that beat the number 6 team in the country in Gonzaga. His playing days were over. He was ready to be a coach. Portland had to activate him because they ran out of players. They ran out of so many players this year that their head coach, Shante Legans in his 5th year at Portland, they had so less guys because of injuries, he had to play as part of the scout team. He tore his Achilles doing that.
Yes, I did see that. That I saw.
And this is a Portland team with their coach. He's on a little scooter. And with the grad assistant on the team now, this is a group that beat the number 6 team in the country. Amazing. These are the stories I love about college basketball. I want more of these stories and less of the G League. More of these stories, less of the guys that failed in the G League coming back. Pretty remarkable. Last night, USD were able to upset Portland. They won soundly. They had a pretty good game. They didn't have Tyler Johnson. He was a late scratch yesterday, so we'll see how that plays out for USD basketball. But I was locked into basketball this week. And again, I think it's because San Diego State's off this week. TCU got a big win. So I started to, this is my level of, this is my version of liking trains as much as Frank does.
Okay.
This is what I did last night. And I honestly, I realized it's not even that hard to do this. I put together everybody does the bracketology, like you got like Joe Lenardi, bracketology and all that stuff. I decided to, without looking at Joe Lenardi's latest bracketology.
You made your own bracket.
I basically filled out exactly how he would do it based on rules. Now with like all these websites, you get all the metrics. And what I did was I did an average rank of the net, the RPI, the Ken Palm, and the strength of record, seeded it. Ended up being almost identical to Joe Lenardi's bracket. To the point where I'm like, all right, what do we need these bracketologists for? I did this in like 10 minutes. Because it's just, they have all the rules, right? If you know the rules of like how they do the tournament, it's not crazy to like come up with a prediction of what the bracket might look like. I mean, I just ranked everybody based on their, you take a look. That's doing an average ranking of the 4 major rankings that they use is basically going like, well, they're 1 in net and the 2 in strength of record here. I just had a computer basically do it for me. And then when you have to factor in all of the teams that are automatic qualifiers, you put those guys in, and all of a sudden I put together a bracket, and then it's also even easier to seed where they go play because it's whatever the best team is, they get to go the closest. So you fill out the bracket, Michigan, number 1 seed. Oh, look at that. Have them playing the winner of Bethune-Cookman and Morgan State. You look at Joe Lenardi's bracket, it's Morgan State and New Jersey INT. It's like it's the same thing. SMU's getting a ton of looks at the 9 seed. The only difference, the only sad part, though, Frank, is with that, Joe Lenardi's got the Frogs in. I have the Frogs like way out based on the metrics.
That just means you did it wrong.
I think that means I did it correctly. I don't know. I think they're giving this is the unbiased conference. No, not valuing on conference. San Diego State was like one of the last 4 buys on my sheet based on the metrics. They actually did pretty well in the deal. If you average their metrics together, they have a 43 in the net. They have a 43 in the RPI. They have a 43 in the Ken Palm, and then they got the 50 in the strength of record. Puts them on an average of 44.8. That's better than Ohio State, Miami, UCLA, and VCU, who all should be in the first 4. But, with politics, right, Frank?
Mm-hmm.
They got to get those big power conferences out of the first 4. Make sure they put San Diego State in the first 4. So I did that last night after working the basketball game. That's how locked in the basketball I am. But it's time to get to baseball. It's time to lock into Padres baseball. And one of the big questions circling this organization right now, aside from health and aside from the fact that they need another starting pitcher, maybe another bat, what's this rotation going to look like? I think a lot of people assume what it's going to look like, but AJ Cassavell took a deeper dive in what the rotation will look like and kind of read between the lines of what Craig Stammen is saying, and we'll talk about the Padres starting rotation when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number 1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. Well, if you're wondering whether or not the San Diego Gulls are legit or just hanging around the playoff line, last week kind of answered that. 7 of 8 possible points, 3 straight wins, a blowout heading into break, and now an AHL All-Star goalie leading the charge. What have they done? Well, Callie Klang is an All-Star, and it's earned. Named the 2026 AHL All-Star Classic, his first All-Star nod, 11-3-2 record, 2.39 goals against average, a .906 save percentage, second best goal against average among Pacific Division goalies. He's not just surviving games, he's calming them. This team plays with confidence because they know what's behind them in net.
Yeah, it's absolutely huge to be able to rely on that goaltender to be able to calm games down when they're starting to feel like they're getting out of control. Defense might not have it that night. It's very, very comforting to know what you have behind you. You can't get complacent with it, but it's also very good to know what you got.
So he got announced as the goaltender in the AHL All-Star game, and then immediately backed it up with a victory for the Gulls as they beat Henderson 7-4. Now, it wasn't too much on the goal side for the goal, but the offensive statement that the Gulls made was very impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. 3rd straight win, 7 of 8 points in the final 4 games in this last week before the break, and a 7-4 win. Goals from 7 different players. Matthew Phillips, a 3-point night, now tied for the most on the team with 31 points. Justin Bailey set the tone early. Just a great, great night overall for the San Diego Gulls.
Yeah, Sosh stays hot. Yegor keeps rolling. Callie Klang stops 33 shots for the win. Number 11. Team didn't limp into the break, but they burst into it. And that's why it feels different. It's not just a hot week, but if you look out and take a broader look at this, points in 17 of the last 25 games. The record is now 21-14, 6-3. They're in 6th place, but only 6 points out of 3rd place. And the goal differential is positive. The Ben Higgins differential, right, is positive. Depth scoring is real, not theoretical. So they're off. They're playing really good hockey, and they'll get resumed again later this week. But it wasn't just last week. You look at the whole first half. I mean, last 25 games, they've been playing some really good hockey.
Yeah, they absolutely have been. And the only thing you worry about is the same thing you worry about in baseball as well. The All-Star break can be a godsend for some teams, but it could also be a detriment to cool you off going into a nice long break. And that's what you run the risk of here with the Gulls is this All-Star break going to hurt them more than it's going to help them?
And now a couple of things too with the Gulls. They got some upgrades from the Anaheim Ducks. So the Anaheim Ducks are off until I think February 25th is their next game.
Yeah, until the Olympics
because of the Olympics. And so with the Ducks being off in the NHL, they sent a couple of players back. Sam Colangelo was one of the first to get sent back, but then Tim Washy is also back. The All-Star forward returns after an NHL stint. He led the Gulls in goals before the recall. He had size, leadership, and finishing down the middle. This lineup is deeper today than it was 2 weeks ago, and I don't know how long Washy's going to be down here in San Diego, but you're the Gulls. You got to take advantage of this as much as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the Gulls, I mean, while they're not the main focus, you're also trying to win. You're trying to win a trophy here. So it would be very, very nice to be able to use that NHL talent that you have to be able to get ahead, or in the Gulls case, catch up a little bit. 3 games back, 6 points is very, very doable, especially in the American Hockey League.
Let's take a look at the big picture for the San Diego Gulls. You're seeing the identity start to lock in. Strong goaltending, heavy forecheck, speed through the neutral zone, and now offense that doesn't rely on one line with all of the goals that were scored by multiple people in their last game against Henderson. And head coach Matt McIlvain keeps saying it. Any line, any night, and the results are starting to match that belief.
Yep, and that's how you have to play it. You cannot rely, especially in the AHL, you cannot rely on one guy, because that one guy, if he is that good, is going to be gone. He's going to get called up to the NHL affiliate. So you need to be able to score from multiple places, and especially against Henderson's 7 different goal scorers. That is absolutely huge.
Again, San Diego Gulls are in 6th place in the Pacific Division. The top 7 make the playoffs, but they're only 3 points behind 3rd place in the Pacific. And they got a pretty big measuring stick coming up this weekend at Bakersfield on Friday, and first Bakersfield at home at Pechanga Arena on Saturday before playing San Jose next week. Those Bakersfield games are looking a lot like a playoff measuring stick, Frank.
Yeah, they absolutely are. A nice home and home against Bakersfield, and then you go into the middle of next week, which I'm sure we'll cover on the next week's update, against the Barracudas of San Jose. So a very, very good measuring stick here for the Gulls coming up.
And the thing with the Gulls is they had so many years now in a row where they did not get a lot of help. 10:17 on a Thursday into a holiday weekend for a lot of people out there. President's Day is on Monday. It is also Valentine's Day on Saturday. Make sure you get all your stuff. All you dudes out there that have to participate in Valentine's Day, get your ducks in a row. Should have done it already. Don't do it the day of. Don't do it the day before. Should have been done already. Today, to me, is the last chance for you to get that stuff going.
Did you know?
No.
That next year's Super Bowl?
Yes, I did know that.
Is on Valentine's Day.
Stop it. I don't care.
I mean, there's only so many times you can remind people of that, right?
Yes.
So while you're preparing for this year's Valentine's Day, may as well go ahead and prepare for next year's as well.
I agree with Go Aztecs, though. It is a dumb holiday. It is a dumb holiday. Nobody cares that much about Valentine's Day. But that being said, it's a nice surprise every once in a while. Did anybody know that Antonio Gates actually played basketball in college?
Did you know that Tony Gwynn played basketball in college?
You know Tony Gwynn is the all-time assist leader in Aztec basketball history?
I know, I did not.
You actually did not know that?
I did. I had no idea.
Did you know that Clayton Kershaw and Matt Stafford went to Highland Park, same high school?
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's right. How about that?
Did you know that I am currently out of fun facts that I can think of off the top of my head?
Out of standard fun facts that you hear on every single broadcast?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Sounds good. You pre-order the stuff. Get that thing done. It's a nice surprise. It's great. For everybody in the chat that's like, well, you don't have to do anything. You know what? It's still a nice surprise. And how about this? It's an excuse to go out if you're married. Like, it's an excuse to go out. Have a good time. It's on a Saturday, though. Still the dumbest holiday. Is it the dumbest holiday or any other dumb holidays out there? That one's a dumb holiday. I don't know how many other holidays are that dumb as Valentine's Day.
Trav, I was a very good catcher back in the day, as a matter of fact. That's not even a lie.
You know, Frank Marchese has natural casings.
All
right.
To snap.
No. Let's get to the starting rotation for the Padres, all right? Before we go on a tangent of meaningless stuff. All right. Context is spring training. Spring training has opened up, and the question is, the Padres have enough pitching? The answer is no, they don't. What is the rotation potentially going to look like? They had their first official workout for pitchers and catchers in Peoria earlier this week. Many pitchers already in camp weeks prior. Love to see it. Immediate focus, starting rotation picture. Front of the rotation looks strong. Depth, a little bit uncertain, but likely 4 spots spoken for. 1 spot is realistically open unless a move happens. Here's how this kind of is played out with reading the tea leaves of Craig Stammen the last couple of days. You have 3 locks in the rotation, and I don't think anybody is really different from that, right? Like, would you argue against the fact that there's 3 locks in the rotation? There's 3 locks in the rotation. Anybody have any problems with that?
No, not at all.
I don't have any problem with that either. Who are those 3? Nick Pivetta, Michael King, Joe Musgrove. Now, Pivetta's coming off of a 2.87 ERA in 2025, 6th in the NL Cy Young voting, most stable arm entering camp, likely opening day starter. As of right now, no current health concerns. Clear number 1 entering 2026. Anybody disagree with Nick Pivetta being the clear number 1 going into 2026?
I mean, I would put up an argument for Michael King, but I would really have no genuine qualms either way.
If he's fully healthy, yes. But the question is he fully healthy, right? Is he going to be fully healthy? He does have some setbacks. Let's talk about Michael King. Biggest offseason move for the Padres was re-signing him. Missed some time last season. Nerve issue, knee injury, limited to 15 starts. He says he's fully healthy. And when healthy, top of the rotation arm. I would say that. Now, the concern is durability. As of right now, Nick Pivetta is the most stable arm coming into spring training. He is the clear number 1. Michael King, if fully healthy and at to his top level of coming off of multiple injuries last year, one of them being a fluke, by the way, then I would lean into the argument that Frank said, that you can make the argument that Michael King's your best pitcher. And I think all things considered on paper, Michael King probably is your best pitcher, but as of right now with health statuses and coming off of what last year was, you've got to give the nod to Nick Pivetta. Number 3, Joe Musgrove. Returning from Tommy John surgery, slow played. He will be slow played. Timeline likely cautious early in the season. Proven ace level ceiling when right. Obviously, the big concern is the workload management, early season ramp up for Joe Musgrove, but he's got to be the number 3. Now, they all have question marks. Even Nick Pivetta. Nick Pivetta is coming off a career year. Michael King's coming off multiple injuries, one of them being obviously a fluke. And then Joe Musgrove is returning from Tommy John surgery. There's a lot of, it's really good on paper, but if we have any type of setback, we're in real trouble. Here's how Craig Stammen has talked about the rotation. He said it was headline with Joe, Nick, and Michael. Then there's competition. So let's talk about the competition, because from right there, it sounds like the front 3 are locked in. Anybody disagree with that? Anybody? No? No. I think we're on the same page here. Everything after that's open. Now, I do think that there's probably a candidate that's probably in. Randy Vasquez. Randy Vasquez is probably in the rotation unless he just has an absolute awful spring or he gets hurt, right? 2025, he had 28 appearances, made 26 starts, 3.84 ERA, 4.85 fielding independent pitching, obviously suggesting that he had probably a little bit more good fortune than anything else. But late in the season last year, like, Randy Vasquez improved. More swing and miss, fewer walks. And you have to remember, like, Randy Vasquez is he's a young pitcher. He's a very young pitcher with not a lot of experience now. He's had 2 years in the major leagues. And from that perspective, like, he's going to be a guy that is still learning and growing into this position. He's so young of a guy. He's not even like on the Padres Fangraphs page for their payroll. That's how young of a player he is. I think he's like mid-20s. I mean, I don't even know why he's not on this list. Probably because they don't think he's not going to make the team or something. I don't know. But Randy Vasquez, younger pitcher, it's going to come with, he's going to learn as he goes. And I think he's done a really good job so far in his time with the Padres. He's 27. Still a young pitcher learning at the major league level. Now, I still think he's probably in the rotation, likely already in. Craig Stammen says he's at the inside track at one of those last two spots. Only way he's bumped is if the Padres add another starter. Was 2025 sustainable enough growth for Randy Vasquez or smoke and mirrors? I think it is. I think he is starting to grow more and more. And I think another spring training with Ruben Niebla is going to pay dividends for Randy Vasquez. So that leaves up contenders right now for one final opening in the starting rotation. J.P. Sears, Matt Waldron, Tristan McKenzie, and Marco Gonzalez. J.P. Sears on the 40-man roster. Easier to fit in. Needs a bounce back after last year. I think a lot of Padres fans have rolled their eyes at the potential of J.P. Sears making this team because as a Padre, he had struggled a lot. He had one really good outing at home, and other than that, he had been very, very bad for the Padres. He's coming off some struggles. I think Ruben Niebla and Craig Stammen and Ben Fritz can work with J.P. Sears and get him going again, where he could be an asset for this team, but he needs a massive bounce back. Matt Waldron, also on the 40-man roster. Knuckleballer profile adds a lot of uniqueness, but he also needs the rebound. He did not have a very favorable season last year for the Padres. And again, he kind of lives and dies with the knuckleball. He doesn't have the knuckleball. He's probably not a major league pitcher. But he's got the knuckleball. People don't see it a lot. It's tough to deal with, but the problem is it's all over the place. They got to get somebody that can catch his knuckleball just as much as him being able to consistently throw it. And it's hard to control a knuckleball because that thing's moving all over the place. Then you got Tristan McKenzie on a minor league deal and an invite to camp. He's not on the 40-man roster. So you would have to cut somebody to add him if he makes the team at the end of the year. Buy low candidate. Very strong 2020 through 2022 in Cleveland. He has had injuries. He has had inconsistency derail him. He does have a history with Ruben Niebla working with him in Cleveland and high ceiling if mechanics and health return. I think he's a big wild card to this rotation. And the last guy for you is the vet, Marco Gonzalez. 34 years old, missed all of 2025 with a flexor tendon surgery, 10-year vet. Career 4.16 ERA across 926 plus innings. Definitely a floor play, stability arm. I mean, he's just kind of a veteran you would have on the team. But I think it's intriguing. And with those four arms, I think the winner of that battle is going to be a pretty good addition to the Padres as number 5 starter. You could do worse than some of these players. I am most intrigued by Tristan McKenzie, though. But when you look at the rotation and the reality check of the rotation, assuming the health holds, which is a big assumption, you got 4 spots spoken for: Pivetta, King, Musgrove, and Vasquez, and 1 real opening. But that assumes no outside additions. And when we come back in the 11 o'clock hour, we're going to talk about that as we continue our conversation on the starting rotation. But when we come back, a preview of college baseball, which starts tomorrow. Head coach of the USD Toreros, Brock Ungricht, will join us in the next segment on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Toreros Sports Station 97 through the Fan. This was a week that perfectly captured where the University of San Diego is right now. We're now talking about the San Diego Toreros as part of our updates for the week on the Braden Surprenant Show. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. On one hand, frustration, inconsistency, and tough losses in men's basketball. On the other, breakthrough performances, records falling, and young stars announcing themselves on the women's side. And even a great softball win that shows how teams learn to close games. So the question becomes, which direction defines USD right now? The growing pains or the growth? Men's basketball, team still searching. Saturday night at LMU summed up the Toreros season in 6 minutes. They were down 17-0 before you even get settled in your seat, forced to chase the game the rest of the night, and ended up losing by 20 points, 83-63.
Yeah, fighting from underneath you can only do for so long. Even though you did have a good second half, shot 60% from the field in the second half. You held LMU to only 5 made threes. Actually matched the Lions shot for shot at halftime. But when you spot them 17 points and you're fighting from underneath all night long, it does not make a night easy for you.
You're not going to win a lot of West Coast Conference games doing that either.
Not going to win any games doing that.
The bright spots, of course, Dominic Ford, the grad transfer, led the team with 14 points, 6 rebounds. Freshman Brandon Benjamin playing in his hometown, 5 for 5 from the floor, +6 in the plus-minus in just 13 minutes. Real glimpse of what the future could potentially be. But the reality is for San Diego now, you went into this game knowing that the teams you're competing with for extra seeding spots in the West Coast Conference tournament that we've talked about on previous updates were playing the top 3 teams in conference. They were playing Santa Clara. They were playing St. Mary's. They were playing Gonzaga, and they all lost to the top 3, and a win would have put you right in the thick of things where you could still be available for a Sunday bye in the West Coast Conference tournament for that tough weekend. But right now, you got to play in the play-in game on a Thursday, and that's something you really don't want to be in. They could still play their way out of it, but they sit at 4-9 in conference. They're the bottom of a crowded West Coast Conference middle tier, and now comes a critical stretch. 3-game homestand, which starts Wednesday against the team that you thought was going to be an easy victory against. So not easy because there's always difficult in conference play, but one that you would chalk up as a win against LMU. You lose by 20, and now a team in Portland that's red hot after they knocked off Gonzaga at home and had one of the biggest upsets of the season.
Yeah, and Portland, that is a huge game now coming up, especially after them beating Gonzaga. I mean, this is your last real opportunity to start building momentum before the conference tournament begins, as March is only getting closer as every second passes.
This men's team competes, but it doesn't dictate games. I mean, too often they have slow starts. They play uphill. They let opponents control tempo and confidence. Talent flashes are there, but the consistency isn't. And the late comebacks, it's tough when you dig yourself into a big hole. As for the women's basketball team, future is loud. Let's flip the script because USD women's basketball had a pretty big week, statement week. I mean, they lost the game to Washington State on Thursday, but they had a huge performance at Olivia Owens. They lost in the final possession, but she ends up winning the West Coast Conference Freshman Player of the Week award. 31 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists last Thursday against Washington State, followed by a 20-point, 13-rebound performance and 7 assists for Seattle U. One of the best individual weeks by a Torero freshman ever.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's men's or women's to have 51 points, 24 rebounds, and 13 assists over a 2-game stretch. That is absolutely massive for anyone, men's or women's, in Division I college basketball.
And Saturday's win versus Seattle U, well, that was a 71-54 victory, a comeback victory for the Toreros, who got off to a tough start. They avenged the loss that they had at Seattle earlier in the year, Seattle's only conference win, but they got a program record 63 rebounds. They held Seattle to 19% shooting in the second half, and Eva Roos, 20 points, 18 rebounds, and her 4th double-double of the season. By the way, those 18 rebounds in the contest against Seattle puts her 8th all-time for most rebounds in a single game, and it's tied with a lot of alumni that were actually in attendance on Saturday. Pretty cool and fun story.
Yeah, that is absolutely awesome. And again, I mean, that's the good side of it. On the personal side, the team side of it, though, is they're still a very young physical team. They're learning how to play together. Still 3-10 in the conference. They've got Gonzaga coming up. I mean, this is a learning experience, a gelling year, if you will, for the Lady Toreros.
USD women's basketball will play Gonzaga on Thursday. In softball, they had a fun weekend to get things started, and their last game was a pretty important one. They were down 2-0 against Cal Poly. They had a 3-run 4th inning. Kelsey Tadlock shut the door in the circle, a 3-2 victory for the Toreros over the Mustangs. And that's a team that showed that they don't panic, get timely hits, know how to finish. And they got off to a pretty good start this weekend for the softball team. They opened at home this week, which is worth your attention. So be able to pay attention to what's going on in Linda Vista for softball. As for baseball, should be an interesting week as well. Some interesting stories about a shortstop no longer being part of the program, according to Kendall Rogers. They're going to fly out to Charlotte on the East Coast to take on the 49ers to get things started. We're broadcasting live at the Bill House Studios. We know how. And now joining us on the David B. Shapiro fan hotline, David B. Shapiro, criminal defense attorney, is helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime. Since 2010, visit davidpshapirolaw.com. He is the head baseball coach at the University of San Diego, getting ready for an opening series on the road at Charlotte to take on the 49ers for a 3-game series. College baseball starts tomorrow for all 3 teams in Division I baseball here in San Diego. We will have more reports on it again tomorrow. But joining us from Charlotte, already out there, getting out there early yesterday, is Brock Ungricht. Brock, what's going on? How's the weather in Charlotte right now?
What's up, Braden? How you doing, man? No, it's good. We got out here last night, and I think they had about a foot of snow about a week ago, so we got here in just the nick of time, and about 55, 60 degrees today at practice, so it was pretty nice.
That is nice. That's a lot better than having to deal with snow for your opening series for college baseball. But it's good to get started again, obviously. And when you're around this time, pitchers and catchers reporting at spring training for Major League Baseball, college baseball really takes center stage and gets to kick things off. What's your excitement level for this season for the Toreros?
I'm just excited to watch our guys compete. You know, they've endured a lot since September 1st, getting on campus, 23 new players. 15 transfers. So you got a whole new team, and you set the culture, set the standards, and all they've done is just raise the bar continuously, in the weight room, in the classroom, in the community, everything that they do that's expected of them, they've done a great job of that. So I'm excited to be their coach and be a fan and watch them just have the time of their life. I mean, there's nothing better than the opening day, right? It takes you back to when you were a kid. You're playing at 5 years old, and you're out there on a Saturday morning at 8 or 9 a.m. and just to really embrace it, even as a coach, right? You feel grateful, you feel appreciative to get to put the uniform on, and then especially 3,000 miles away, representing San Diego, our city, our great city that we have, and then and our awesome university. So definitely excited about that tomorrow.
We're talking with Brock Ungricht. He is the head coach for the University of San Diego as they get ready for their series against Charlotte, kind of giving us a preview of college baseball as that starts off tomorrow already. It seems like we were just at the West Coast Conference tournament not too long ago. But, Brock, you guys are coming off of a West Coast Conference regular season championship. Just came up short in the West Coast Conference tournament. Schedule a little bit more obtainable this year than last year. But who's on the slate and who's coming to San Diego that a lot of fans can come check out?
Yeah, I mean, you never know. The schedules you plan out in years in advance, so you try to do the home and home and try to get them back to San Diego. And I still think it's a very challenging schedule once again. I mean, out here 3,000 miles away against a really good mid-major program in Charlotte who won 36 games last year, they're well coached. And then we're back in the Tony Gwynn tournament next week at home against Utah and Creighton, and then against San Diego State on Sunday. And then we have Michigan coming into town for a 3-game series, which is an awesome opponent. We go to Cal in the ACC, obviously now, which is weird to say, week 4. And then we have Oregon State, who was in Omaha just a year ago. They're coming to San Diego this year. So with that, and then a bunch of, midweeks against USC, Irvine, our non-conference schedule is going to be challenging once again, but that's what you have to do if you want to win this conference every year, because it's always going to be a dogfight in the WCC year in and year out. As long as I've been in any conference for that matter, it's going to be a dogfight. So this non-conference slate is going to prepare us very well going into conference, which is always our goal, to win the WCC and advance to a regional.
You mentioned the Tony Gwynn Legacy Tournament. Obviously, it's not this weekend, but the following weekend. You guys host, San Diego State hosts, UC San Diego also hosts. As obviously a Aztec for life. That's where you went and you played for Tony. You had a great relationship with Tony Gwynn. How important is it for you to have your program play in the Tony Gwynn Legacy?
It's so important. I think about him every day, and that's why I have his jersey above my desk, hanging behind me. Always make sure I'm doing things right, as he would always say. But, to be able to honor him and we want to make it bigger. We want to grow it. Coach Vance now at San Diego State, I think, it's exciting for him over there to have his opportunity. And we've talked a lot about, hey, one day maybe it'd be great to get it at Petco Park, and obviously Coach Newman too, with the respect he has for Coach Gwynn. It's awesome. Coach Gwynn, what people don't understand is he would be so proud of where college baseball is. It's trending in the right direction for college athletics. And he really wanted it to flourish and thrive. And he cared so much about, the 18 to 22 year olds. And, I think that's so important to be able to pay it forward. I got to see that as a player for him. I got to see it as a coach with him, how much he really, really cared about, young men and treating them like young men and getting them ready for life, as well as, trying to teach them about the game of baseball. So super important, proud to be a part of that Tony Gwynn Legacy Tournament.
We're talking with Brock Ungricht, the head coach of the University of San Diego Toreros baseball program, as they get ready to take on Charlotte this weekend. The beginning of college baseball starts tomorrow on February 13th. Should be a fun slate for the Toreros. Let's meet some of these Toreros, Coach. What do we got coming back from last year before we talk about some of the new faces?
Yeah, I think it starts behind the plate. We return our defensive player of the year in the West Coast Conference and Jaden Lobliner. And, I'm very fortunate to have him back, as I thought for sure he was going to get drafted. Last year he had some opportunities and decided to stay put here at USD. And to have him behind the plate, it's a direct reflection of, I'm a hitting guy, but let's be honest, the most important thing on that field is that guy on the mound. So, with him back there, he's kind of our leader, our captain, and, he's just an unbelievable catcher, outstanding human. And so you feel good about that with a senior behind the plate. Returning our center fielder, Aiden Howard, just a year ago, just playing his first full season of college baseball. Switch hitter, can fly, can really cover ground in center field. And with those guys up the middle, it's awesome to be able to have that continuity, if you will, in college athletics. And then, really, really looking for Adrian Beltre Jr. Belt to have a big year for us as a sophomore. He played a lot as a freshman last year, got a lot of experience, had a really good summer in the Northwoods League. And we're going to be able to use him on the mound as well. And if I have anything to say about these guys, we added a couple of transfers along the way. Our shortstop's going to be a transfer from Stanford and Gabe Springer. We added C.J. Moran from across town from San Diego State, who was their leading hitter. These guys got personality. These guys, they play with a bunch of personality. They have fun. They love each other. They're going to be exciting to watch. We're just out of practice this morning, and it was 35 degrees this morning, so before it got 55. And they're out there just having the time of their life. And, just to watch these guys vibe together and really get after it, it's gonna be exciting.
Had a very young team last year, a little bit older this year, picked up a lot of, grad transfers. How important is that now in this day and age of college athletics to have kind of the experience? I know it's tough for high school kids to kind of crack the lineups at a lot of these universities, but right now a lot of schools are going with some veteran presence, and you've had young teams, you've had older teams. How important is it to have some of that experience out there with the roster you have?
Yeah, it's so important. In 24, we won 41 games, and we were 18th in the country. And just 2 years ago, and it's because we're not because we were old, but that was a big part of it. We were old, right? We had seniors, we had juniors, we had grad transfers, and some really good players who played together for a long time. And just that experience, like anything, is key, right? We will look at pro sports so much, and you see the free agent wire, and you pick up an experienced player that's calming in the locker room, if you will, right? That can hold the standard of the program and bring the younger guys along, put their arm around them, love them, and take care of them, and teach them and help them grow in so many other ways, right? And it helps slow the game down for maybe your sophomores or your freshmen that are playing, and then just watching, right? Like we were talking about it, like we'll have Diego Gutierrez, who's a grad transfer from Northridge, will be our starter tomorrow night, and just talking to him, and it's like, he was telling me about his freshman year. And his freshman year, he just used his eyes and his ears and listened and watched older guys. And, when you have the older guys that do it right, they work hard. They're the first ones in, the last ones to leave. This is their last hurrah. So they're going to give it everything they have. They're going to really enjoy it, enjoy being on the field, embrace, the work ethic behind it. So the younger guys can really see what it takes to be successful. And I think it's such a huge part of our culture.
Brock, appreciate the time. Know you guys got a lot more meetings. They got Torero time we got to do out there on the East Coast, and should be a fun season. Good luck tomorrow. Good luck this weekend. Look forward to seeing you back here in San Diego next week.
You're the man, Braden. Appreciate you. Go Toreros.
Brock Ungricht joining us on the David P. Shapiro fan hotline out there in Charlotte as they get ready to take on the Charlotte 49ers for a 3-game weekend series. They will have they'll be on the road. They'll come back to California and then play Long Beach State on the road on Tuesday. And then it's the Tony Gwynn Legacy Tournament. And that's a tournament that used to be really high level around college baseball. It had fallen off, but hopefully the 3 programs in town can get that back going for Tony Gwynn. I mean, I've gotten to know Brock Ungricht now very well, and he played for Tony. And the stories he tells about Tony Gwynn, I mean, it's just the coolest stories, Frank. I mean, just the coolest stuff. And the impact that Tony Gwynn has had, not only on San Diego State's baseball program, but now the other programs in town too, based on, Brock played for him at San Diego State, as I mentioned. So now it's like they play a lot like Tony used to manage and a team like Tony. So that not only do the Aztecs represent Tony Gwynn, but USD does a great job of representing Tony Gwynn and what he means to the city.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I'd also love to hear stuff like that, and getting a chance to play under Tony Gwynn, that has to be incredible.
Yeah, I mean, that was a hard decision to make, right? When you're playing at Mission Bay High School, because Brock Ungricht went to Mission Bay High School, and you got Mr. Padre recruiting you to play at San Diego State. How do you say no to that?
Yeah, exactly.
How do you say no to that? I don't know, but it's cool. They do a great job representing San Diego. They do a great job, representing baseball here in San Diego. But college baseball's back. Should be a fun year. USD projected to be near the top of the West Coast Conference, a very older team. And again, they got Adrian Beltre's son on the team. Adrian Beltre Jr. is on the team. He's a great kid too, by the way. Pretty cool. But I love college baseball. We got to get you out some college baseball games in town.
Yeah, I would love to, especially this weekend with Long Island being up at San Diego State, and I would love to go out to see the Toreros this year. Yeah,
if you look at the where everybody's at this weekend in D1 baseball, and UCSD's on the road at UCLA, the number 1 team in the country. You look at, San Diego's got a good Charlotte's expected to be a team that's competing for their conference. And then, San Diego State's got Long Island. San Diego State, I think they're getting a little disrespected in the poll in the Mountain West. I think they're going to be a lot better than what they were. They picked up a lot of players in the transfer portal during the offseason. But I'm excited for college baseball to be back. College softball is already underway, which is great. But when college baseball and college softball are back, that means Little League's back. Mm-hmm. That means high school ball's back, which means Major League Baseball is right around the corner, Frank.
Absolutely. Best time of year.
Top 25 in college baseball going into the season. UCLA number 1, LSU 2, Texas 3, Mississippi State 4, Georgia Tech 5. Rounding out the top 10, Coastal Carolina, Arkansas, Louisville, Auburn, TCU. The West Coast schools, Oregon State's ranked 12th in the country. They're coming in to take on the University of San Diego in the month of March. Other teams in there on the West Coast, Arizona is ranked 24th in the country to start the season. But most of the talent right now has been in the SEC, and they got some machines down there, as I've seen with college baseball. But college baseball is fun. The tournament's fun. I mean, you get to see guys play at a very high level in a very pure form. The NIL and stuff hasn't infiltrated too much to that point. You're starting to see it, I think, a little bit more in the SEC, but you get to see a lot of kids playing at a high level and see baseball almost in its purest form at the college level.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure it's a lot of fun. You get to see, as you said, in its purest form, as it were.
So that's the latest on the college baseball news. We got Vance coming on tomorrow, right?
Yes, we
Coach
should.
Vance on
Right
the
around
wrong.
the same time, actually.
Same time to get to some college baseball. Let's go back to our conversation about the rotation before we talk about the three major wild cards that are involved with filling out this rotation. I talked about the top three. I don't think the top three are going to change. I think Randy Vasquez is definitely the four, but I look at the four guys that could potentially fill that last spot: J.P. Sears, Matt Waldron, Tristan McKenzie, Marco Gonzalez. I'm the most intrigued about Tristan McKenzie.
Yeah.
And
100%.
I have this feeling based on Ruben Niebla's track record, based on the fact that he was in Cleveland when Tristan McKenzie was there, that he's going to turn around Tristan McKenzie. And to add him to the roster, that might be the big add more than any signing that might happen here in the next couple of days or weeks or whatever it may be. That goes with A.J. Preller's track record.
And it's not only that as well. I mean, you'd have to think not only has Tristan McKenzie grown, but so has Ruben Niebla as a coach. So he might, whatever he was able to unlock with Tristan McKenzie. I mean, in 2022, he was 11-11 at a 2.96 ERA and 30 starts. He pitched in 30 games. That's by far and away the best season of his career. And again, that was under Ruben Niebla. So Niebla has worked with a lot better pitchers since then. Maybe there's something that Niebla has learned from working with someone else that was able to unlock them that might be able to help Tristan McKenzie and unlock him.
Did you say 2022?
Yes, 2022.
He was not there.
Oh,
okay. That was the So 2020 and 2021 is when Niebla was there.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And he was 2-1 to the 3.24 ERA. 2020,
that was his rookie
2021, he had a 4.95 ERA. Then he had his best year in 2022, which who knows how much of the coaching played into the factor going into the next year, because Ruben Niebla was hired in October of 2021. So, and then all of a sudden Niebla is gone, and then it falls off a cliff with injuries and all this other stuff. So, I think Ruben could probably get him going. I mean, he had made some improvements. I mean, obviously 2020 was he's 22 years old, right? And in 2021, 23 years old, still super young pitcher. I think he's going to be able to make the strides under Ruben Niebla and really help this team out. But also, I think the same thing about J.P. Sears. I think J.P. Sears can unlock something with Ruben Niebla too. I think these are the type of players that you have to really rely on if you're the Padres, based on the fact that you've already spent the money, right? So you look at a guy like J.P. Sears, who's got a 4.53 ERA in his career, which is not terrible for a number 5 starter. Wasn't very good in a Padres uniform last year, but I think he could, with some work and some, extended time, can help out the Padres in this year. And again, you could do a lot worse than J.P. Sears as a number 5 starter. So those two to me really stand out. Marco Gonzalez is interesting if he can stay healthy, but to me, this strikes me as like a almost last hurrah for Marco Gonzalez at his age, coming off of a flexor tendon. I find it to be kind of a tough uphill battle for him. And I mean, he's missed 2 years now with injuries.
Yeah.
He missed all of 2016 with an injury. He missed all of 2025 with an injury. And before the last year he had was in Pittsburgh. He only threw 33 and 2/3 innings in his 7 starts that he made. Had a 0.5 WAR. But like the year before that, only made 10 starts. I mean, he hasn't made more than 10 starts in a season since 2022. Maybe he can give you some depth, but to me, I don't think Marco Gonzalez is going to be a guy that makes the team out of the gate, which also leads to, is he going to accept going down to the minor leagues, or is he going to ask for his release?
I can see Marco Gonzalez, if the situation arises, I can see Marco Gonzalez being the kind of guy who, if you're in a situation where, let's say J.P. Sears is in the rotation, and you have a lineup coming up that you're about to face that is very, very bad against left-handed pitching, I can see possibly Marco Gonzalez getting a spot start in that spot, maybe instead of Musgrove, pushing Musgrove back a day to give him a little bit of extra rest. I can see him going in that spot. I don't see him being Of those four guys that are there, I see Tristan McKenzie making the fifth starting spot. JP Sears is your sixth guy. Probably Waldron if you need somebody for an extended period of time, and then Gonzalez as the most likely options.
The Marco Gonzalez thing to me is he willing to just hang out in the minor leagues until you need him for the 2 starts that you need him for? I mean, maybe he is. But if there's another team out there that could use him, he probably is going to elect to do that. I mean, he's either going to make the team or he's just not going to be part of the organization, would be my guess. But what's the 3 wild cards to the starting rotation? We'll tell you in the next segment.
Hey, it's
11 o'clock hour, broadcasted live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. It's a beautiful morning today in America's finest city. A little cooler today after the rain yesterday, but still a great winter morning, if you will, as we talk about Padres baseball today. It's going to be a lot of Padres baseball. We got a lot of sound to play from AJ Preller, from Craig Stammen. We're going to get to later on in the show. Aztecs got their football schedule released yesterday. Pac-12 going with a flex option. We'll talk about that later in the show. And lots to get to still after just 1 hour in. Now, let's talk about what could be the three major wild cards to the rotation. We talked about the rotation a lot in the first hour. And with the Padres starting rotation, we have come to an agreement that, and I think we all are in an agreement on this, that the Padres have three pitchers that are going to be locked in the rotation. Correct, Frank?
Correct.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, Randy Vasquez probably is going to be in the rotation. Correct?
Correct.
All right, so that leaves four spots relatively taken based on what Craig Stammen has said the last couple of days, based on inferring, based on reading the tea leaves, based on reading between the lines. I think we're kind of in that position right now when it comes to the Padres starting rotation. Now, the other thing that is added to this is we think that San Diego Padres have four players battling for one spot in the rotation. Those players are Marco Gonzalez, Tristan McKenzie, two players that are not on the 40-man roster, and then J.P. Sears and Matt Waldron, two players that are on the 40-man roster. But there's a couple of wild cards that might shape the way this starting rotation looks. Maybe during the season, maybe on opening day, who knows? But there are a couple of wild cards mixed in, and it's never just cut and dry when it comes to talking about a rotation, talking about a bullpen, talking about an opening day lineup, and really talking about a lot of things before they even have position players showing up, before they even have spring training games happening. And so these wild cards could shape the way this rotation looks by the time that we start the 2026 season. Let's start with the Preller Spring Edition history. Over the last four springs, AJ Preller has added, just in starting pitching, Sean Manaea, Michael Wacha, Dylan Cease, and Nick Pivetta. All who had, aside from probably the end of Manaea's tenure with the Padres, all of those guys having massive impacts on how the Padres season went that season. Preller habitually adds a starter late, it seems like. And this is just the starting pitching side of things. There's still some other areas in which AJ Preller adds to during spring training, or even after spring training ends, he gets the roster together and they get ready for opening day. They made moves like the night before opening day in some trades that have brought back guys like Craig Kimbrell, Melvin Upton Jr. According to sources, the Padres are still active, but unlikely to be a splash at same level. Expect another arm, but just maybe not a frontline one. It's interesting that this kind of came up today because, and a lot of the times they ask the follow-up questions, but there was some things from AJ Preller. And one of them was a question on what moves he still wants to make to round out the roster. And I was going to play this later in the noon hour, but I'm going to add it to right now, and I'm going to give Frank some time to pull it up. But on social media, on the Padres, or should I say on 97.3 The Fan account, there is a clip that's labeled as AJ Preller on what moves he still wants to make to round out the roster. We put it out about an hour ago. And when Frank has that ready, I put him on the spot here, so I'm going to let him get some time. We'll play that clip for you. But it adds to this really conversation about the Padres still being in on potentially adding a starter here in spring training. I think that they're cheering you on there, Frank.
I'm ready to go.
Ready to go? All right. Here's AJ Preller talking and he was asked about other moves that you might want to add to this roster.
Yeah, I mean, I think still looking to add to the starting rotation. I think we've mentioned we've got some good competition, but I think it's always looking to fill out innings and get guys that can come in and then help us be better from a rotation standpoint. Probably still another bat, probably more of that complementary, kind of adding to what we have with Sheets and Laureano and, obviously, Andujar and Song and that grouping. So I think clearly some rotation help and then looking to add at least another bat to kind of go in the mix with our lineup.
It's AJ Preller talking about potential adds that he could make during spring training. I mean, the bat seems to be the most important priority right now. We got news the other day from Dennis Lin that they expect the contract negotiating with Yu Darvish to be settled before opening day, which gives them about just over a month. I don't know if that frees up the money for another pitcher, but as I look at this starting rotation, I still think they're going to add an arm, but are they going to add an arm, Frank, that's going to be better than the four options that they have competing for that final spot? I don't necessarily know if they're going to be that much drastically better, especially when you got guys like Chris Bassett signing yesterday for like $18 million.
Yeah, no, I can't. Chris Bassett signing for $18.5 million with Baltimore. That is a steal for Chris Bassett. I mean, that's just highway robbery of an organization. But I can't, from what I've heard out of AJ Preller, I can't see them being a frontline big name starter. I think it'd probably be better than Randy Vasquez, and I think that the urgency is going to come a little bit later on in the camp, whether or not he feels as though a McKenzie or a JP Sears can really go at the start of the year. I think it's really reliant on how their camps go as to how good the quality of starting pitcher that he's looking for out of the trade market before the season starts.
As of right now, these are the names that are still available on the market. And it's rated in order of what Fangraphs has projected for their WAR for next season. Take that all with a grain of salt, because Fangraphs doesn't have the Padres being very good this year anyway. So they think Zach Gallen, out of the pitchers that were free agents, they think Zach Gallen is the sixth best pitcher overall in this year's class. He's going to do the sixth best out of all the, Dylan Cease is expected to do the best, followed by Framber Valdez, Ranger Suarez, Michael King, Brandon Woodruff, and then it's Zach Gallen. He's the number one left available. He's expected to sign for more than $22 million. Chris Bassett, actually, according to Fangraphs, they had him for 2 years, $36 million. They're pretty close. 1 year, 18.5. I don't necessarily know if I wouldn't do that if I'm the Padres.
No, absolutely not. Not for a 37-year-old. No shot.
But Zach Gallen, number one. Number two on the list, projecting at a 1.7 WAR, Zach Littell. And then after that, it's Max Scherzer, Lucas Giolito. I mean, you'd have to pay Max Scherzer, according to Fangraphs, $12.5 million for 1.3 WAR production.
No.
I don't necessarily know if that's the case, if that's something that I'm willing to do at this point. Lucas Giolito is expected to get a 1.3, have a 1.3 WAR next year. He's listed at getting the same contract as Chris Bassett. Is $18 million worth a 1.3 WAR next year?
No.
No, it's not. Not where the Padres are at. Next guy on the list, John Gray. John Gray's 34, had a negative 0.4 WAR last year for the Texas Rangers. He's projecting at a 1.2 WAR next season. Patrick Corbin is after him. Patrick Corbin is 36. He had a 1.9 WAR last year. He's expected to get a 1.1 WAR this year. And then it's Griffin Canning, Ederman Marquez, Alex Cobb, Marcus Stroman. Marcus Stroman is expected to get a 0.6 WAR next year, Frank. And his projected contract is 1 year, $8 million.
So you're basically taking the WAR and moving the decimal back one spot, and that's the projected contract you're getting, more or less.
Roughly, there's a value thing that goes to their.
So you think you're going to
deal.
get a 1.1 WAR? You're projected to make $11 million next year. It's more or less what I'm hearing.
No, because Jose Quintana is a 1.2 projected WAR. He got $7 million. He was expected to get $7 million.
Yeah, because where did he sign with?
Colorado signed him for
Colorado.
6.
Oh, well.
They signed him for 6. But I look at that list. The only one to me that's entertaining, like Zach Littell, 1.7 WAR, not bad in terms of like overall production. But like, I don't know, $12 million. That seems to be the best deal on the group. Max Scherzer at 1.3 WAR for 18 million, or sorry, 12 and a half, maybe. Max Scherzer's 41 years old. And then you look at Zach Gallen, it sounds like they really can't figure out Zach Gallen because he wants a lot of money or a lot of years that teams aren't willing to give him at this point. So as I look at like the arm potentially, you almost want to know why AJ Preller talked more about bats. That there's really not a lot out there that's better than the guys that you currently have. Like if Tristan McKenzie turns it around, okay, he turns it around. What do we think his WAR would be if he like has a good year? Like what would a good year of Tristan McKenzie be? A 1 WAR?
I would say probably
that'd be
a little
his
bit better
second
than
highest.
that.
That'd be
Yeah.
his second highest, right? 0.6 WAR was his first year. I mean, you start looking at numbers that he has put up. That he's not going to cost you $8 million if he makes the team.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
So at this point, it's like, why would you pay all this money for a 1.6 WAR when you're going to get that out of a guy like Tristan McKenzie anyway?
You've gotten to the point in free agency now where signing a pitcher makes no sense because you're going to be overspending for meh to poor quality pitching.
You're going to get meh pitching where you can get meh pitching out of some of the minor league deals that you've already handed out.
Exactly.
But that's one of the wild cards of the rotation. I'm starting to not think that that's going to be the case. It's probably more going to be a trade than anything else.
Yes. At this point, you've hit that point in free agency. You've hit that point in the offseason. You've hit that point as the season begins where it makes no fiscal sense. If you're looking for a quality starting pitcher, it's going to be either in your camp that you just haven't seen yet, or it's going to be through guys from your camp going to another camp.
Yeah, you're getting a reclamation project.
Yes.
Walker Buehler, reclamation project? Walker Buehler signed for a minor league deal? Probably not. He's 31, though. He's projected to get a 0.5 WAR next year. Man, did he just fall off a cliff in production?
Yep.
So, from that perspective, the adding history. Now, I mean, if you look at Cease was a trade and Manaea was a trade. So, two of those pitchers they added during spring training were trades. A trade could be up his sleeve. Number 2 of the wild card list, according to AJ Cassaville, Kyle Hart. Started last year a little bit. Showed signs of being really good. Showed signs of being really, really bad.
Made the roster again late in the season for the postseason push out of the bullpen too.
Kyle Hart, left-hander, likely bullpen candidate. Stuff played up in relief last year. Will be stretched out in camp. If multi-inning effectiveness carries over, he could re-enter the starter mix. Potential high. I see him as a hybrid and a spot start guy more than anything else.
Yeah.
I view him as the guy that you would use Marco Gonzalez for that I don't think Marco Gonzalez is willing to do. That's how I view Kyle Hart. I don't think Kyle Hart's going to pitch well enough in spring training to outdo some of the guys that are in front of him, but maybe he will. The last one, and I think this is the rarest one, is the prospect breakthrough. So your number 5 overall prospect, as AJ Cassaville lays out, Miguel Mendez. He's in big league camp. He's unlikely to break camp, but door isn't shut. Like maybe he has a really good spring training and then he dominates early in the season and you could think about adding him late. I find it hard to believe that. The other one is Jagger Haynes. He's the number 10 overall prospect. He's also in camp, more likely headed to the minor leagues. They would both have to have, or either would have to have a dominant spring to potentially work their way into the conversation. It's not impossible, but it's just not likely. That's why it's listed as a wild card, Frank.
Yeah, exactly. I don't see anyone in the Padres system right now that would be ready to go this year and be impactful. I'm kind of just surfing through the league right now just to kind of see if there's anyone that you might be interested in as a back end of the rotation kind of starter. Reed Detmers kind of perked my ears up out of Anaheim. I mean, they're going to be relying on him, but he's not going to be quality. Anaheim's not going to be good this year. And last year, Detmers, believe he made 61 appearances, didn't start last year. His last year as a starter is 2024, made 17 starts, 4-9 with a 6.7 ERA. But the year before that, he had a 4.48, which, not bad for a back end of the rotation starter.
I'd rather have the guys.
No, I
I'd
agree.
Take a risk with the guys on the team.
I'm just saying for a trade, and I agree. I feel more comfortable with what you have, but if you're hell bent on a trade,
he's 26 years old and he's making $2.625 million. He's under control for the next 2 years. The Angels are probably just going to want to keep him at this point, but at the same time, I can get that kind of production out of somebody that's on a minor league deal. So again, it doesn't make any sense. AJ Preller usually has something up his sleeve, though. I know we continue to say that, and a lot of fans don't want to hear that, but he does. He's going to continue to have things up his sleeve, and a lot of the times he acquires players you would even consider available. I thought the same thing about Sean Manaea. It was like, I didn't know he was available. I ask that question all the time. The big picture theme of this rotation, though, is the rotation strength depends on the health of the people in it, because they all have question marks when it comes to health. 2 of the top 3 arms are returning from significant injury issues. Depth is a little shaky, where if one goes down, it kind of turns into a problem, and they need at least one bounce back candidate to hit to make this thing work. But Preller, historically doesn't stand pat. I think the rotation is competitive, but I think it's also thin, and I also think it's fragile. It's got a lot of upside, but it also has volatility. So from that perspective, it's kind of an up and down when it comes to rotation. They could be really, really good, or it could be a disaster. I still think this rotation as assembled can get you to the deadline. And to me, at this point, based on what's left, it's probably better to stand pat, see what you got in camp. If you think something's bad, make a trade. If not, upgrade at the trade deadline. That's how I view this for the starting rotation. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Now, with a lot of the injury concerns and trying to get certain players ready for October, and we've heard Joe Musgrove talk about this, should the Padres consider a 6-man rotation early to protect King and Musgrove? We'll have that conversation next on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Toreros Sports Station 97 through the Fan. Well, if you're looking for proof that San Diego High School sports is peaking at the right time, this is your week. Statement wins, ranking shakeups, a coaching hire that brings NFL experience home, and spring sports officially stepping into the spotlight. Let's start with the game that felt like a playoff preview. And these are the 2 teams that have been battling it out in the prep rankings for boys basketball in town. I vote in the boys basketball top 10. I've been voting for Francis Parker ever since they beat Santa Fe Christian the first time, but they ended up doing it again. Everything was on the line last Wednesday. League control, open division seating, and even player of the year implications. And Francis Parker beat Santa Fe Christian 63-56, their second win over Santa Fe Christian this season. And with it, Lancers took full control of the Coastal League. And by the way, took full control of the top 10 in San Diego.
Yeah, absolutely. They did it through adversity as well. Leading scorer, Tavid Johnson, fouled out with nearly 6 minutes left in that game. Kai Jones cramped up late. Role players were forced to step in into huge moments. And boy, oh boy, for Francis Parker, did they ever answer the call.
Yeah, Jones finishes with a career-high 21 points. Columbus Palmer adds 18. Ezekiel Walker, scoreless all night, buries a corner 3, and free throws late. That's championship-level basketball for Francis Parker. Now, Santa Fe Christian still got a monster performance from Dax Hall. He had 26 points, 5 boards. Chase Othick chipped in 20 and 8. Game swung on runs, emotion, and composure. And here's the key takeaway. Francis Parker scheduled pain all season playing the best teams in California, and now it's paying off. This win didn't just flip the league race, it flipped the county hierarchy, and I think it's going to set up for a very important open division playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And Francis Parker getting this win was absolutely huge. Some say could have probably been ranked ahead of Santa Fe Christian a little bit earlier, but now leaving no doubt by doing it again.
But you look at the rankings shakeup this week, and in boys basketball, Francis Parker now jumps to number 1. Victory Christian, who continues to chug along and win a lot of games, stays number 2, and Santa Fe Christian drops from 1 to 3 in a lot of different polls. This open division field is loaded, and there's a real chance Parker and Santa Fe Christian see each other a third time with even higher stakes. Now, for the girls, Mission Hills takes over number 1. Francis Parker drops to number 2. La Jolla Country Day holds steady at number 3. This isn't about one dominant team. It's about depth and matchup chaos heading into the postseason. Girls basketball has been very competitive.
Yeah, it has been, and especially with guys, with the teams moving around. Mission Hills, again, as you mentioned, taking over that number 1 spot, jumping over Francis Parker. It has been very, very competitive this year in the girls basketball.
Let's take a look at the athletes of the week. According to the San Diego Union Tribune, across the county, stars showed up in big moments. Sophia Sugapong from La Jolla Country Day passes 1,000 career points in a win over number 1 Bishops. Madison Vandiver out of Brawley, 24-second pin sparks another section wrestling title. Diego Ortiz of Mira Mesa dropped 29 points in a road win at St. Augustine. And Elisa Nahara of Olympian, 32nd pin to clinch a 6th straight section title. This is the time of year where legends start stacking big moments.
Thank you very much for making me not try to pronounce those names. But yes, congratulations to all 4 of the athletes of the week, especially Elisa Nahara out of Olympian High School.
Is it even possible to get through a weekly update without giving you a football note here in San Diego?
No, probably not.
New head football coach at El Camino, Frank.
Yeah, apparently Stephen McClure is now a former Vista High School star and NFL defensive back, is now the new head coach over at El Camino. And this isn't just resume hype. He does have local roots, college and NFL experience. He also has a clear focus on culture before scheme. So a very, very big hire for El Camino, as they've lacked what they've lacked is stability and identity. And McClure's first real win will come long before Friday nights, as it will be in spring and summer buy-ins.
Yeah, for El Camino, it's a transition period now, and Stefan McClure, Silver Pigskin Award winner from his days back at Vista High. So he went out, he achieved a lot of great things as a player, is now coming back to San Diego and is leading another team in the North County at El Camino. We'll see how they do up in the North County this season. Now, shifting to the springtime, the only sports that are about to get underway is track and field. Winter starting to wind down, track and field about to steal the spotlight, and you got to start keeping an eye on some of the local athletes in town that have done a really good job. But Jasir Fontenot out of Modern Day Catholic, he's chasing a sub-13 in hurdles. Josiah Bowman out of Sage Creek, hunting a sub-150 in the 800. Jalen Williams from East Lake versus Chiara Daly of La Jolla. That's a rivalry headed to Stanford. And Steel Canyon Girls Relay, a 48-year-old section record could fall with how talented this particular team is. So San Diego quietly becoming one of the best track sections in the state.
Yep. And also, if you're driving around near those schools, be sure to watch out for your local track and field stars getting their practice in.
Remember to listen at 1 o'clock for us to announce today's biggest fan for a chance to qualify for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a future Padres game with all the fan staff. Register your name at 97thefanst.com/biggest fan in order to potentially have your name called. We're going to get to the sports thread here in the next segment, but we do want to talk a little bit about and kind of really finish off this conversation on the starting rotation, which I'm sure we'll have multiple of these conversations as spring training goes about. But when you talk about the Padres starting rotation and going into the season, this is a situation in which they have 3 players that are locked into spots. They have 1 player that's probably into a rotation spot. They have 4 players really contending for the final spot. And then there's 3 wild cards that can shake up all of that in being a late ad, in being prospect help, maybe prospects outshining what they're expected to be in spring training, and then Kyle Hart and what Kyle Hart does this year. That's all part of the conversation that we just had. So here's another thing. I look at the situation with the starting rotation, and it throws out the idea again about should the Padres consider a 6-man rotation. I have always been part of the group that is not opposed to a 6-man rotation. I'm not a baseball purist. I do like baseball, but I don't like go, oh, that's you can't have a 6-man rotation. We've never had a 6-man rotation. I could see how this roster would benefit from a 6-man rotation. Now, the problem with that is, though, is with the extra guy in the rotation, that's 1 less player that you would have in the bullpen. The only way that it makes sense to do a 6-man rotation here, aside from preserving Joe Musgrove and Michael King, is if your 6-man rotation can get deeper into games where you don't absolutely destroy the bullpen early in the season. So if you start looking at where rosters are going to look, like what the roster is going to look like, the high end side of the starting rotation being 6 guys is you get more rest for guys like Michael King and Joe Musgrove. And when do you want Michael King and Joe Musgrove at their healthiest or at their best, Frank?
September, October.
September and October. So I'm just going to kind of pencil this out right now if we talk about it. So we talked about the rotation being the top 3, right? We got Pivetta at number 1. We got King at number 2. We got Musgrove at number 3, right? And then more likely than not, you're going to get a situation where you have Vazquez as your 4. Okay? Let's just add let's add the fact that, with a rotation like this, I think you're probably going to get to a spot where you kind of need a swing guy to do a 6-man rotation. So I'm going to put, and it's hard to do this just because he's not on the 40-man roster, but if you go with Tristan McKenzie, because I think he has the most upside, and then you go with Kyle Hart as your 6-man rotation, it's not unbelievable, right? Those are the 6 guys that you have in the rotation. Again, what 13 pitchers, 13 position players. So with those guys off the board, and you're just trying to build out your bullpen now, it's 1 less guy. So now you only have 7 guys in the bullpen. Your bullpen starts with your closer, Mason Miller. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with Jason Adam, but signs are trending that he's going to be part of this conversation more so during the season than not during the season. He's going to be part of this team for the majority of the season. But you got Mason Miller back there. You got Morahone back there. You got Adam back there. You got Estrada back there. So that's already 4 spots off the top. You're not going to cut Wandy Peralta because you have to pay him. Yuki Matsui is under contract. So that leaves you with 1 guy left. And you're looking at Bradley Rodriguez. You're looking at guys like Marinaccio, Alec Jacob, Brian Hoeing, right? Guys like Johnny Brito, Ty Adcock, who you just signed. I would imagine Adcock probably makes the team after you just signed him to a major league deal. So those are your 7 bullpen arms, which means you got to make decisions on guys like Brian Hoeing, which we're going to talk about in just a little bit. You got to make decisions on Bradley Rodriguez, who's on the 40-man roster, which, by the way, and before we even get to that particular portion of the conversation, we have Trish McKenzie making the starting rotation, which means you got to open up a 40-man spot. So you look at the rotation: Pivetta, King, Musgrove, Vazquez, McKenzie, and Hart. Now you have 7 arms in the bullpen to use in those games, and these guys in the rotation are going to have to go more than 5 innings. Otherwise, you're going to use these guys like every single day. You go like 6 innings almost every time. Is that more beneficial for a guy like Joe Musgrove to go 6 innings and then have an extra day off, or go 4 or 5 innings but then have to pitch every 5 days? That's really the conversation you're at. And here's the thing. At the beginning part of the season, when you're still limiting pitch counts and everything like that, you're asking yourself to really tax your bullpen a little bit more. But I don't mind a 6-man rotation. I think it makes sense for the circumstances of the Padres. And the only guy really that had stipulations with this that was really routine based was Yu Darvish, and he's not going to be part of the conversation. I don't want to mess up anybody's routine, but to me, if you're going to start to employ a 6-man rotation, now's the time to start really employing that.
What was the one thing that we complained about the most, or that we talked about the most, besides who in the heck is going to play left field for this team if they want to make the playoffs last season?
That was the big question that we had, yeah.
The overusage of the bullpen.
Right.
That was the big talking point. If it wasn't who the heck was going to play left field, it was, why are we using the same 4 guys every single day and throwing their arms off? So to me, I mean, I'm not opposed to a 6-man rotation either. However, when you used Adrian Morejon and Robert Suarez, for that matter, and Jason Adam as many times as you did last year, that is going to wear on them down the line. So I would stick with the 5-man rotation. Yes, it would be amazing to be able to give Joe Musgrove an extra day off. That's where you would use a spot starter. That's where you would use an Oscar Gonzalez. That's where you would call up a JP Sears. I wouldn't really go with a 6-man starting rotation with just how much the bullpen was used last year. It'd be used even more this year.
Well, here's the question. If you do a 6-man, if a 6-man rotation means you can go 6 innings with Joe Musgrove instead of 4 innings with Joe Musgrove, what's the difference?
But if he's going 4 innings because he's getting shelled, or is he going 4 innings because he's getting tired?
Tired.
Then you give him.
So the whole point of the 6-man rotation, here's the argument. The whole point of a 6-man rotation would be to preserve some of these guys who are coming off of an injury, right?
Right, but you can.
So the question is it better to have a 5-man rotation where they go 4 innings, or a 6-man rotation where they go 6 innings? The bullpen is still getting used the same. What's better?
You could spot start people. You don't have to stick with a 5-man rotation. You can find ways, and you can manipulate guys getting extra days off with a 5-man rotation.
But if you're going to spot start the entire year, you're basically already doing a 6-man rotation.
You're not going to do it every time.
You can't bring guys up and down all the time. I mean, you have to have guys in the 40-man roster. I mean, this is the argument of the 6-man rotation would be, if a 6-man rotation means you can get more innings out of your starters, then you would do it so they can go extra day rest, so they are spaced out more throughout the year. That's why, like in Japan, they do a 6-man rotation, is for those reasons, right? Mm-hmm. So the question is not like, because people, here's like, anybody that's not in favor of a 6-man rotation is looking at it from a standpoint of like all the bad sides of it. It's like, well, you got 2 losses in a row with the back 2. But if you're doing a 5-man rotation and yet you still have to do the spot starts, or these guys get hurt because they're pitching too many times and you're not easing them in, you have to use those pitchers anyway. You have to use these pitchers. Like there's no way around it. These guys are going to be used. So you're either using Kyle Hart as a long relief guy or using Kyle Hart as an extra rotation piece. That's all you're doing. It's not like it's not like one of your bullpen arms is not making the team to put a guy on the team that shouldn't be on the team. So instead of Kyle Hart being the long relief guy and saving everybody if they have a disaster, he just starts every 6 days.
I would rather have the long relief guy. Personally, I would rather have the long relief guy that's there, break glass in case of emergency. That's what I would personally rather do.
I mean, you could still have one of these guys go a couple of innings after the fact. I mean, a long relief guy just sitting there waiting for the one time.
Oh, no. I mean, of course, you use it for an inning here or there, but I mean, I wouldn't.
But if but you can still have a longer relief guy in the bullpen, even with a 6-man rotation.
That shortens your bullpen even more, though.
Yeah, but that's only if you. But you can still use them the same. Again, like the whole concept would be if you're going to 6-man rotation, you're only getting 4 innings out of your starters. You're hosed anyway. I mean, that's not
Right.
changing with a 5-man rotation. So you have to view it from a sense of a 6-man rotation means my starters are going 6 innings because they have an extra day off. They can go a little bit more. In the 5-man rotation, sometimes you pull these guys a little bit earlier than you would like because of the fact they don't have as much rest time. So the question is, would you rather have the 6-man rotation if it guarantees you 6 innings, which means you only have to use 3 bullpen pieces a day, or would you rather go with the 5-man rotation that only gives you 4 or 5 innings, and now you have to use 4 bullpen pieces a day? It's really the same thing. It's, do you want to see Kyle Hart start, or do you think it's going to screw you up? I can see both ways to this, but if the whole idea is to preserve guys like Michael King and Joe Musgrove, I don't understand why more teams don't do a 6-man rotation.
If you look at pitchers now, pitchers won't throw more, but most pitchers throw between 85 and 100 pitches a start.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter when they get there. If it's 4 innings, if it's 7 innings, it doesn't really matter. It's the pitch count is what you're looking at. So I don't see, because you get an extra day's rest, you can throw 15 more pitches. You can get up to 115, 120 on a regular basis. They're not going to do that anyway.
But that's the whole point of like the extra day of rest. Like they have the scheduled amount of pitches because they have to use him within a couple of days. This is the same thing with bullpen arms. Guy throws 30 pitches in a bullpen, he's not pitching the next day. With every extra pitch, that's like more days you need to recover. If you have an extra day to recover, you don't have to. You can. It's more likely that these teams will let their guys go a little bit further in a game and go a little bit extra pitches. So that's the argument. Does the extra whatever does the extra day off give you a reason to go 6 innings?
I don't think it does, because with how analytically inclined all of these teams are, if the analytics proved that there was a benefit to it, more teams would be doing it.
Well,
it would be done by
in
now.
Japan, they've discovered that.
Okay.
But in the United States, I just feel like a lot of organizations are stubborn
also,
on certain things.
Japanese pitchers that are coming over are not convincing their teams, though, to go to 6-man rotations. So if it was genuinely that beneficial, somebody would have done it. And if it would have been beneficial, it's a copycat league. Everyone else would have done it by now.
Teams have done it though. They've done it during spots.
Spots.
But Frank, the difference is they don't have 6 guys that can go out there and do it all. It eventually you have to have Kyle Hart start multiple games, and that's where they run into the problem of, why am I paying all this money to a guy that pitches every 6 days? That's the real product of the conversations. Like, I'm giving the start. We got to take a break. I'm giving the starter $40 million a year, and he's only pitching every 6 days. Why am I doing that? That's probably the real reason why they don't do a 6-man rotation. But I do find it interesting. When we come back, we'll talk about Nick Castellanos. Sounds like the Phillies finally cut him. Is he a fit for the Padres? I don't know. If you don't have to pay him, maybe. We'll see what happens. We'll get you the full report when we come back. It's Daytona 500 week. More than just one race out in Daytona, Florida. The 2026 NASCAR Cup Series season officially gets rolling with the 68th running of the Daytona 500, set for Sunday, February 15th, 2:30 Eastern on Fox. And no matter how much the sport evolves, the prestige of the Harley J. Earl Trophy still stands alone. That's the big news for NASCAR fans. But for here in us in San Diego, it means the start of the season is here for a season that's going to include a race right here in San Diego.
Yep, absolutely. And there's a lot of learning to do, which is why we're putting NASCAR in these clips. So first, the very basics, because Daytona Super Speed Weeks are very, very different from anything else you're going to see over the course of the season. There are 36 cars that are guaranteed to be locked into the Daytona 500 no matter what. After that, there are going to be cars trying to race their way in through one, qualifying, setting a fast time, or by going through the duels on Thursday, trying to race their way in. So there's a lot of different things that can happen over the course of this week that you won't see in any other week.
Yeah, that provisional is being used by this year, or being used this year by 7-time champion Jimmy Johnson, putting a 41-car field on track for NASCAR's biggest race. Good to see Jimmy Johnson back out there. I know he's been rumored to run in a lot of the races that are going to be here in San Diego.
Yeah, I believe he's already going to be running the Truck Series race. I'm pretty sure. I don't see why he wouldn't be in the Cup race either. So he's trying to do as much as he can for San Diego. So right now, getting back to Daytona, right now there are a lot of cars that are going to be running for those open spots. Now that Johnson's taken one of the provisionals, they've added a car to the 500. You have Justin Allgaier, Corey Heim, who was last year's Truck Series champion, Corey LaJoie, Chandler Smith, and Anthony Alfredo, who are going to be looking for either to get in through qualifying speed or to get in through the duels.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are just competing, just get their season started,
yes,
if you will. And when this starts single car qualifying on Wednesday night?
Yes, Wednesday night, the 11th. Then it is the duels on Thursday night. Truck Series season kicks off on Friday night. Saturday afternoon is going to be the ARCA Series race, which if you're looking for a demolition derby, the ARCA Series is where you're going to find it. The Xfinity Series will run on Saturday night, like midday Saturday into Saturday night. And then the Cup Series running the Daytona 500 on Sunday, where there's rain in the forecast, because of course there is. But a President's Day on Monday, so a lot of people will have the day off.
Let's go back a little bit. Let's talk about how this works in terms of the qualifying for the big race. So it's going to happen Wednesday night, February 11th, will be the single car qualifying. Explain for us how do you qualify, what the rules are for the qualification, how many laps you get, and who gets to advance to the next stage.
So each driver will get one timed lap around Daytona. So they'll get their warm-up lap, they'll get the time lap, and then they get the cool-down lap. The top 10 will advance into the second round in the battle for the pole. The two fastest drivers in that final round will make up the front row for the Daytona 500. Then you go to the duels. The duel races on Thursday night. Drivers who qualified in odd number positions, 1, 3, 5, they'll be in duel 1. Drivers who qualified on the outside rows, positions 2, 4, 6, and on down, they will be in duel number 2. Now, the front row is locked for the Daytona 500. So whoever qualifies first and second are going to start the Daytona 500 from first and or second. However, it doesn't matter where you qualified after that, because if you win the duel race, if you win duel number 1, you're going to be starting third. If you finish second, you're starting fifth, and so on and so on. Same thing with duel number 2. If you win duel number 2, you're starting in fourth, second gets sixth, eighth, and so on.
For the open teams, this is where the pressure really spikes. If you're not already locked in on speed, the top open finisher in each duel punches a ticket to Sunday's race. And new for 2026, even the open cars that qualify on speed will have their starting positions determined by those duel results, as Frank mentioned, not just qualifying time. So it adds extra juice to the races during the week. So while fans see one race on Sunday, this week teams are managing 4 straight days of pressure, strategy, survival, just to get to the green flag.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the start to the year that you cannot wait for. 4 straight days of racing, 4 different classifications of car. It's a dream time for NASCAR right now.
So you go through all the qualifying and all that other stuff, and then we haven't even talked about
and then you crash on lap 1 and it's all over.
But then they got 2 final drafting practices Friday and Saturday before everything culminates in the Great American Race on Sunday. So it's a big time. I mean, can't believe I can and I can't believe it at the same time. Broadcasting live at the Bill House Studios, we know how. Harold Reynolds just wants to see Fernando and Machado on different teams so bad.
Just give it a rest,
I know.
brother. My God.
Harold Reynolds. Yeah, I can see Machado or Tatis being traded. The Padres don't start out hot. Excuse me? What? What? Give me a break. So ridiculous. So ridiculous.
So how about this?
He does it like at least once a day. It's like the more Harold Reynolds talks on MLB Network, the more I feel like out of touch with baseball he is. It's like, well, we have to have him on a massive team. We have to have these guys on a massive team. We have to have them on the Yankees.
So how about this? How about you and I both send in a video to MLB Network saying that Bobby Witt Jr. should be traded if the Royals don't get off to a hot start. The Mariners should trade Julio Rodriguez. And then as audition tapes, and when we both don't get the job, sit there and say, okay, well, we're doing the same thing that Harold Reynolds is doing and he's employed. So what are we doing any differently than who you already have there?
Somebody on Twitter goes like, what are your thoughts on this opinion? I think they're nonsensical is, I think, the nicest way for me saying it. All right. Today, yeah, we saw it. Okay. We saw it. Yeah. We knew this was happening. I mean, yesterday, the report was the Phillies told Nick Castellanos to not even show up. Like, please do us a favor, Nick. Just don't show up to camp. All right. Like, you're not going to be on the team. We don't want you on the team. We're going to find a trade for you or release. Just don't show up to spring training. That's where the Phillies were at. And so yesterday, I think Adam sent that to us. And I was like, all right, well, if they're just going to release this guy, I'm going to be like, all right, cool. Well, he might have that. Maybe this is the juice he needs to go out there. He's got to go out there and try to kick the Phillies' ass. Padres don't play the Phillies enough for them to be like worth it on a emotional roller coaster side of things. Maybe the Mets should pick up Nick Castellanos. But officially, the Phillies have released Nick Castellanos. So the Phillies are going to pay Nick $20 million to play against them. That's what they're going to do. Nick Castellanos was so bad last year in Philadelphia that the Phillies are paying him to play against them. That's how bad Nick Castellanos was last year to them. Now, he wasn't atrocious. He played in 147 games. He had 589 at-bats. He had a negative WAR, which is not great. He hit 250, 400 on-base percent, 400 slug. He had a 694 OPS. His OPS plus was 88. That means he was, 11 spots worse? 12 spots worse than the average player. Okay. He hit 17 home runs, 72 RBIs. He was okay. I mean, he's not very good. But the Phillies would rather pay $20 million for him to not do that on their team than pay $20 million for him to do that on their team again. People are going like, oh, maybe the Padres. Unless that dude is getting picked up for league minimum because the Phillies are paying his contract and he could play first base, I don't necessarily know if I want a guy that's 12% worse than an average player.
What were his numbers against righties last year?
You mean lefties?
No, I mean righties.
You want to know his numbers against righties were last year?
Yes.
Why? So he could be an everyday first baseman?
No, so he could be an everyday. So he could be your DH against righties.
Well, Andujar is your DH against lefties.
And Andujar is your DH against lefties, and that puts Gavin Sheets at first base. Period.
It sounds like from AJ Preller, they don't want to have Gavin Sheets play first base. Period.
I
they keep trying to compliment that. He hit 254 against right-handed pitching last year. He hit 243 against left-handed pitching last year.
Pass.
He had 12 home runs against righties, only 5 against lefties.
That's cool. Pass.
701 OPS.
Probably had double the at-bats against righties, too, getting double the results.
He did get double the at-bats.
There you go.
374 at-bats to 173. His OPS plus against righties, 2% higher than an average player. OPS plus against lefties, 4% lower than an average player. I mean, say what you want. This is like...
I'd give it the Passerino on that, honestly.
The only thing that you're hoping for is he just has this like anti-Phillies agenda and he plays out of his mind and you hope for the best. But I wouldn't pass on that for league. You're telling me league minimum you wouldn't bring in Nick Castellanos?
But
league
again,
minimum.
If you don't, right, but if you don't want let me see if Castellanos ever played first base.
He's getting reps at first base. He apparently is going to get reps at first base.
There's a difference between getting reps at first base and having played
out of all
first base
the defensive positions. I know Moneyball says it's incredibly hard. It can't be that. It can't possibly be that hard. I mean, Luis Arias played first base last year.
He's never played first base in his career. He did play third though. Played third for 21 games. Double that in right field.
He's 33. It's not like he's 38. I mean, you brought in. Let me ask you this:
league minimum with the understanding that he is your everyday first baseman, then I'm okay with it. At league minimum, I would be okay with it.
I can have him be a platoon player for league minimum. I bet you his ego probably wouldn't allow that, or nor would he want that. But
my response to that would be, brother, you're getting $20 million from the Phillies. This is a bonus.
Yeah, he's actually going to make
baseball
more this year than he would if he was with the Phillies, because he's going to get paid the $20 million by Philadelphia. Here's my thing on Nick Castellanos. He's 33. He still has some production. He wasn't that great, but it's not like you're paying. If you have to pay more than league minimum for this guy, I'm out. But if you only have to pay league minimum for him, and he signs with the Padres because it's like, hey, look, like we'll let you do X, Y, Z. I'm on board with it, but I don't think Nick Castellanos is going to sign for the minimum. I think some bad team might offer him like a couple million. Padres are not in a position to do that. If the Padres want to bring in Nick Castellanos, they have to do it for league minimum, and it's like no risk involved. If you bring him in for league minimum and you cut him for like $780,000, it's not a big deal. Like you could do that. You brought in Nelson Cruz at age 40 something on $1 million. You brought in Jason Hayward for more than league minimum. Is Nick Castellanos at age 33 going to be better than Nelson Cruz or Jason Hayward or Yuli Gurriel or any of these other players that you brought in?
I would say he is.
I would say so. He'd be like taking a flyer on Yuli Gurriel, except I think he has a better opportunity. The difference is, of course, is he'd be a DH and he would be like he would have to learn how to play first base, which I do not believe is going to be that difficult for him. Out of all the positions to play, it's like you're asking to be a catcher or a middle infielder. League minimum sounds good. Anything more than league minimum, I'm out. I don't know what type of clubhouse presence he brings to, like you got to have some clubhouse chemistry. I think you're in a good spot right now with some of that. So who knows what he would bring to the table in that particular case. But I mean, Philadelphia is a hitter-friendly ballpark, and he hit 250 last year. 17 home runs. He's 33 years old. And he had the worst year of his career last year. Worst year of his career. You want to take a chance that he hates the Phillies so much, he's going to go and play out of his mind and prove him wrong? For league minimum, I'm down. I'm down to do some voodoo magic with that. I'm cool with that.
He would have that motivation if he signs with New York or Atlanta.
Or Atlanta,
like
right?
That.
I agree. He's not going to have. I mean, he's not going to really stick it to him. Maybe you have. I mean, he'd be good for like a series.
You've got him. The Phillies are here at the end of May. It's the last series, the last full series in May, and it's the first series in June is when you're on the road there. So you're spending league minimum to get 2 weeks of PO'd Nick Castellanos. If that's what you think you're getting, if you think you're getting a guy who's really mad at the Phillies, you're paying league minimum for 2 weeks.
That's why I think he's a better fit for the Mets. I'd actually love to see him on the Mets. I would just love to see the chaos with the Mets.
I mean, honestly, right fielder, you don't have to rely on Carson Bench since we already know that Soto's playing left, which knew that was coming.
Phillies. Don't even show up to camp, dude.
Yeah,
you're wasting your time. Don't even show up to camp.
Like, yeah, just save your money. Well, I mean, you're coming to Florida most likely anyway, but
don't even go to camp. We're good. We don't need you to show up. Yeah, the upside with Castellanos is he plays above a replacement level player, and he plays above a league minimum player, and I can bring in a guy that has accomplished a lot. Maybe he had 17 home runs last year. That's worth league minimum. Be a massive upgrade. Here's your power hitter.
It's a hitter-friendly park, though.
That's right. 12 of them against right-handers. I'm not seeing it. When we come back, what did Craig Stammen say today? Take sights and sounds.
Time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
New lunchtime hour on 97.3 The Fan. August joining us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys, helping good people regain control of their future when charged with the crime. Since 2010, visit davidpshapirolaw.com. Extensive conversation about the rotation in the first couple parts of the show. Extensive conversation about, well, not really extensive, but we went a little bit over on the Nick Castellanos thing. We're in agreement that if Nick Castellanos costs the league minimum, we'll take him. But other than that, then how much money would you give him max? Come on, you would be, if it was like $1 million, would you get upset about it?
No,
not really.
Too bad.
Anything under $5 million that doesn't affect your ability to bring in a starting pitcher, I'll listen. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. I don't know how many people are going to get into a bidding war for Nick Castellanos, though. And I still think I would rather see Nick Castellanos on the Mets or the Braves than the Padres, just for what could potentially be the most hostile Citizens Bank Park ever. I love it. I love the drama. I love the intensity. I love the pettiness. I'm looking forward to it. Before we talk about because AJ Preller met with the media today, and there's a lot of important things that we want to play for you with that. Before we get to AJ Preller's sound, though, since we went long on the rotation and the Nick Castellanos, we do have to get to today's sports thread.
We can't just sit here and talk about Nick Castellanos without playing the thing.
Oh no, don't do it.
I pride myself and think of myself as a man of faith. As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be a home run.
He's gotten picked. What he does, like the he's been doing games on.
Yes, he has. I
what's
believe he's
that on the CW?
Yes.
God, Castellanos, please go to a team that's on the C that plays. On the full circle moment for Tom Brenneman. Anyway, let's get to today's sports thread.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk. Brought to you by QC Kinetics. Stop sitting on the sidelines. QC Kinetics gets you back in the game without surgery. To learn how, visit QCkinetics.com.
All right, Frank, what we got going on today?
We got football drama.
I love football
NFL drama. The girlies.
Number 1.
The girlies are out. The girlies are scratching. Former Steelers linebacker Joey Porter Sr. has ripped ex-quarterback Ben Roethlisberger during a Super Bowl week podcast appearance, calling him, quote, not a good teammate, and saying he, quote, broke the brotherhood by publicly discussing team business. Porter, who won Super Bowl, I'm assuming that's XL, is that 40?
Yeah.
Okay.
L is 40. Or sorry, L is 50 and X is 10. Yeah, XL would be 40.
With Roethlisberger accusing who won Super Bowl 40 with Roethlisberger, accused him of refusing to sign memorabilia for veteran teammates' families early in his career, and claimed he was given a captaincy rather than earning it through a team vote. Porter also criticized James Harrison for taking public shots at former coach Mike Tomlin and sharing private conversations on his podcast. Roethlisberger has not responded to Porter's latest comments, though he previously softened earlier criticism of Tomlin. When former players air locker room grievances publicly, is it honest? Is it honesty fans deserve, or does it cross the line that damaged, quote, brotherhood culture that teams preach?
At this point, it's like, why are we doing this?
I just love when the girlies are out fighting.
But it's like, why are we doing this now?
They got their claws out.
Why are we like, why do this now? Seriously, like, why do this now? They didn't want to do it when they were playing because it affected them. At the time, we can't upset the locker room.
There's nothing else happening right now.
I mean, Super Bowl 40. It's been Super Bowl 60 was like
20 years later.
20 years later, we're airing out our grievances. Where is the statute of limitations on this?
And even that, he's talking about being upset over something that happened early in Ben Roethlisberger's career. So it goes beyond 20 years.
It's like, what's the point? Unless he goes with, whatever it's called. Unless he goes with he was very bad, but now he's getting better. But he got better as his career went on. He used to do this to talk about how how he grew as a person. I'd be all for that. But this is just petty. This is just ridiculous. It's a cheap shot. That's what it is. It's a cheap shot.
It's incredible is what it is. I love drama. This is, like you said, you have no idea how people watch like Real Housewives and stuff like that. This is
number 2.
This is how. Detroit's 29-year run as a college football bowl host is ending, with Ford Field announcing that it will not stage a postseason game in 2026. The decision coincides at the end of the stadium's naming rights partnership with the bowl, prompting a shift in focus towards other sporting and entertainment events. The game began as the Motor City Bowl in 1997 at the Pontiac Silverdome, before moving to Ford Field in 2002 and cycling through several names, most recently the Game Above Sports Bowl. God. It typically featured teams from the MAC and the Big Ten, with the occasional ACC appearance. Detroit joins the LA Bowl in stepping away from postseason hosting. With more bowls disappearing, is the college football postseason oversaturated, or are these smaller games still vital for programs and fan bases?
I think they are more vital for tourism to these places than anything else.
Yes, because I am not going to Detroit in December.
But I just, at this point, and this is an interesting conversation when it comes to bowl games. To me, do I have season tickets to TCU football?
Oh, do you?
I have access to bowl game tickets. Unless it's a playoff bowl game, I'm not overly intrigued about spending money and flying to this place to watch a game that is kind of fun. I don't get it. But I also, here's the other thing too. I live in San Diego. The Aztecs have been notorious for not traveling well to bowl games, because how do you get people out of this and go to New Mexico in December? It's a hard draw. I mean, the only one I would be interested in is the Pop-Tart Bowl. I think that'd be interesting, but it's Orlando. There's stuff to do in Orlando. You can make a vacation out of it. It's fine. But some of these places are places that people don't want to travel to, right? At least here with the Holiday Bowl, they're getting teams from massive schools, they're getting teams from conferences that are in areas that it's freezing, and they come to this. Look outside the window, and it's like, hey, look, and you're like, okay, well, and it's a decent matchup. It's like, oh, I'm an Iowa fan. I can watch the Iowa Hawkeyes take on the USC Trojans, and I get to go to Southern California around New Year's. Hey, do you want to go to New Year's? Hey, let's just go to the game. Who cares? It's kind of fun, but we're going to be there for tourism to San Diego. It makes sense. But Detroit? Who is actively you know what? Now we're in the Little Caesars Bowl. Let's go to Detroit.
In
December.
There's the real test as to how popular your gimmick is for a bowl game, because the Pop-Tart Bowl in Orlando is great. What about the Pop-Tart Bowl in Cheyenne, Wyoming?
Yeah, right. It's just,
how good is the Pop-Tart Bowl in Cheyenne, Wyoming?
With the acts of the Little Caesars Bowl in Detroit, now the Music City Bowl is like the 5th most northern bowl game that they have. To me, that's fine. If you're like, the bowl games to me should be in cities that are desirable to travel to during the holidays. They should be in warm weather climates. They shouldn't be anywhere cold. The Pinstripe Bowl looks miserable every year. The Fenway Bowl looks miserable every year.
I will say this. Yes, I understand not wanting to be in cold weather. However, Ford Field is a domed stadium. So, here's
the dogging on the New Mexico part.
I'm just saying.
Would you rather be in San Diego or New Mexico, dude, right now? I mean,
oh,
seriously.
You're not talking to me.
I'm not talking to you. It's just here. I said it. There's nothing to do in Indiana, and people just started losing their mind. If there was a lot of stuff to do there, their house prices would be through the roof because everybody would want to live there. I digress. What were you saying?
I was saying that I understand, you're not wanting to play these bowl games in the frigid cold, but Detroit, while it is in the frigid cold, does have a roof over it. So it's a little bit more acceptable in that case. However, would you want to travel in the snow in Detroit?
No, I don't.
That's the question.
I was on the trip for 3 bowl games. The Peach Bowl, which is a New Year's Six bowl.
You don't have to.
Still a big game.
You don't have to brag.
The Alamo Bowl and the Liberty Bowl. And the Liberty Bowl, I mean, the Alamo Bowl was still good. And like, at least there's stuff to do. And they had, like, went to SeaWorld in San Antonio, which is not better than the San Diego one. The Riverwalk, the Alamo. I ended up going to a Gulls Rampage game.
There you go.
At the AT&T Center. I saw the Spurs play the Thunder. I think it was the Thunder. I can't remember. At AT&T Center. I mean, there was like things to do at these games. The Liberty Bowl, like, they told you not to leave Beale Street unless you had like a massive group with you. It wasn't. They went to Bass Pro Shops. We went to Beale Street. And then after like 2 days on Beale Street, you're like, okay, what else we got to do here for the next 3 days? It's not a place I want to be.
Bass Pro Shops are cool, man. Especially
the world's largest. What's the world's largest Bass Pro Shops in the Pyramid? We went and saw. I also saw the Thunder play again. This time with Russell Westbrook, but I got upset because he got ejected as soon as I got there. So
there's a reason why that is the world's biggest, is because that used to be a genuine, like, a basketball arena.
Yeah, that's where the Grizzlies used to play.
Yes, it was.
Number 3.
Well, I've been inside that thing, so
we're going to allow you to keep talking about the Big 12 and your heyday at TCU here. The Big 12 will introduce high-tech LED glass floors.
I know. I saw this yesterday. This is cool.
For its men's and women's basketball tournaments in Kansas City, marking the first time official U.S. competitions will be played on the innovative surface. The ASB glass floor system allows for real-time graphics, data-driven visuals, advertising, and interactive fan elements during timeouts. Previously showcased at events like the 2024 NBA All-Star Game, and in Europe, the court is designed with aluminum and steel support to mimic the feel of hardwood, while a ceramic-coated etched glass surface provides grip and consistency. Coaches like Kansas's Bill Self and Baylor's Nikki Colon praised both the performance and the futuristic appeal, calling it a glimpse into the sport's next evolution. Is this LED glass court the future of college basketball, or does it take away from the tradition of the game?
How does it take away from the tradition of the game?
You're not playing on the hardwood.
Who cares? It's the same kind. It's as long as it replicates the same result. Who cares,
brother? I need.
Did you see? Excuse me.
I said what I said.
I just texted you the clip. Have you seen the court?
Yes, I have.
It's super cool.
Incredible.
Yeah, I mean, the Big 12 made it look like they were flashing all the home courts. What they should do, which I don't know if they have said that or not, but what they should do is the higher seed should have their home court on the floor.
Yeah, 100%.
That's so cool. I thought this was cool. My buddies didn't think it was cool because it wasn't their conference. Give me the Big Ten. The Big Ten.
That's
people.
called FOMO and jealousy.
That's exactly what that's called. It's cool.
It's amazing.
Imagine it change. It's awesome. Yeah, during commercial breaks, you can just flash ads on there if you wanted to. It's a great idea.
Hofstra University, get on it. Get on it.
Come on, VA House.
LED floors.
Number 4.
The
negativity. Go Aztecs. Negativity.
The NBA handed out multiple suspensions following a third quarter brawl in the Pistons-Hornets game that we've talked about in the the NBA update that we're showing during the breaks. With Detroit's Isaiah Stewart receiving the stiffest penalty at 7 games, due in part to his history of unsportsmanlike conduct. Charlotte's Miles Bridges and Moussa Diabate were both suspended for 4 games each for fighting and escalating the altercation, while Detroit's Jalen Duren got 2 games for initiating the confrontation, leading to the NHL adage that you're always going to get pinged if you're the one that retaliates.
NHL, that's like in life.
The melee began after Duran and Diabate went face-to-face following a foul, quickly escalating into punches, and the players leaving the bench. Stewart's involvement included leaving the bench and engaging physically, factored heavily into his punishment. Despite the suspensions, Duran will still be eligible to participate in the All-Star game, which is further proving kind of a joke the NBA All-Star game is. The fines total significant financial hits for all 4 players as both teams try to stay on track in the playoff race. Did the NBA get the suspensions right, especially the 7 games for Stewart, or should the league have been even tougher when players leave the bench to start throwing punches?
Yeah, leave the bench should be a massive. I mean, that should be. It's probably fine in terms of their overall disciplinary actions, but you should lay the hammer down on this if you want this to not. I mean, if it happens on the floor, the guys that are on the floor competing is one thing. But guys coming off the bench to get part of the fight, that should be ultimate suspension. Like in high school football, if there's a fight that breaks out on the field, anybody that leaves the sideline is suspended for 3 games. Yeah. You only get 10. Like everybody they don't even have to do anything. They leave the sideline, you're done for 3 games. They go back on film, they look at it. Anybody that crosses the line, coaches or players, you're done for 3 games. Set the precedent. But the NBA, you still play in the All-Star game. We need you in the All-Star game.
I mean, that's and he's the one that started it. The one that started the whole thing gets to still play in the All-Star game. Yeah, incredible.
Number 5.
ESPN. Because the Super Bowl doesn't take long enough, we're going to make it a year-round thing.
Excuse me?
ESPN is launching a Year of the Super Bowl initiative as it prepares to broadcast the game for the first time in 2027 from SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. The network plans year-round programming and cross-promotion across ESPN, ABC, and other Disney platforms to build momentum towards Super Bowl 61. I mean, it's only the most watched sporting event in the world and in the country, but, hey, whatever. The campaign began with a symbolic handoff from Chris Berman to Scott Van Pelt and includes new content such as the I Scored a Touchdown series, spotlighting past Super Bowl scorers, and the Biggest Game podcast hosted by Jeremy Schaap.
Jeremy Schaap. I've heard that name in forever.
ESPN executives say the effort reflects both the opportunity and responsibility of being the first 24/7 sports network to air the Super Bowl, aiming to turn the event into a sustained multimedia experience rather than a single-day broadcast.
Out.
This is too much.
Out.
This is way too much.
This is stupid. It's almost like ESPN's like, oh, look at the ratings the Super Bowl brings. Everybody just loves the Super Bowl. We love everything about the Super Bowl. No. It's February. It's cold. It's an excuse to have a party. And it's the only football game on and the last football game on for a very long time. That's why it's got a lot of eyeballs. People aren't just obsessed with the Super Bowl. The fact that it's the only thing on, it's a big event, makes people interested in the Super Bowl. It's not because it's they can't get enough Super Bowl content. Nobody cares about that stuff, except for the fans of teams that have won Super Bowls that probably want to go back and relive the day that they won the Super Bowl. But aside from that, this is stupid. This is ESPN and terrible programming again, and we need to take a break.
I cannot wait for the middle of July when no one is watching football or caring about football at all, and they throw up the reanimated hologram of Joe Namath to talk about a touchdown he scored in a game that no one remembers. Cannot wait for it.
Whatever. Team USA is up 1-0.
Yeah, Brady
1-0.
the
Kachuk
goal
brothers
against Latvia.
How many NHL players does Latvia have? A handful?
Yeah, they have a couple. Elvis Mers-Lincolns, who's the goaltender for
Gesundheit.
the Columbus Blue Jackets, at least the last I saw. I know Joe Namath is alive. Is the goaltender for Latvia.
When we come back, AJ Preller met with the media. What did he say? Some important things about the Padres. We'll play it for you when we come back. Time for your weekly NBA update. We talked a lot last week about some potential trades that were about to go down, maybe in the National Basketball Association, but can't start this weekly update without talking about what happened on Monday with the not really level of Malice in the Palace Part 2, but Monday night in Charlotte gave us the one of the ugliest moments of the NBA season. Third quarter altercation between the Pistons and the Hornets escalated into a full-on brawl with multiple fights going on at one time. 4 players were ejected. Jalen Duran, Isaiah Stewart, Miles Bridges. Diabate also got ejected. Hornets coach Charles Lee ejected later for going after officials in the game. Police briefly on the court. Never a good look. So it wasn't trash talk. It was punches thrown, headlocks, total loss of control, and something that might be entertaining on social media, but something that the NBA does definitely not want to see again.
No, absolutely not. We do want to see, however, the Hornets mascot just slowly trotting his
right
way
through the middle of the fight,
right through the screen. But no, it's anytime something like this happens, and there have been fights, there have been scuffles, but nothing to this extent here recently in the NBA. It's always a bad look for the sport. It's always a black eye for the sport. And I mean, whether it's whatever conversation you want to throw at this, it's never good to see a bunch of your athletes completely lose control like that.
Detroit says they were targeted. Charlotte says it spiraled out of control. Refs say everybody crossed the line, but this isn't like the 90s toughness of the NBA. This was lack of discipline, and the NBA is probably going to bring the hammer on suspensions that are coming. But Charlotte in particular can't really afford to have these because they're right there in the middle of a play-in tournament push. And they can't be losing significant players for a long period of time.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's going to be as bad as you mentioned the Malice in the Palace before. I don't think the suspensions and penalties are going to be that bad because fans weren't involved.
Yeah, you have Ron Artest running into the stands.
Not even that. It's also, I believe it was Steven Jackson who punched a fan that was on the court. This was all contained on the court, but I can't see like any less than a 5 to 10 game suspension for some of these guys. Probably the guys who instigated it a little bit more so if that.
We're at the All-Star break coming up for the NBA, and for most of the season, the West had dominated the East in terms of better teams, but not anymore. Since January 20th, the East is 48-22 against the West, and overall interconference record now nearly even, with the West winning 142 games and the East winning 139. Yes, the West is still deeper, but the idea that the East is soft is really starting to fade.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the East has had a lot more competitive games this year, and I actually believe I'm not sure. Is it East versus West in the All-Star game this year, or is it?
No, I think they're doing
it's the league versus the world, U.S. versus the world, right?
I don't pay attention to the NBA All-Star stuff enough because
nor should you.
The game is kind of a waste. The East might not have as many contenders in the NBA, but it has more teams playing connected. Yeah. It has more teams playing physical. It has more teams playing playoff style basketball right now. Pistons, Knicks, Celtics, and even the Hornets are part of that shift.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen with the Hornets, that is a huge change because we've seen the Charlotte Bobcats, Charlotte Hornets always been towards the bottom of the East, and now they're starting to run towards a playoff spot. So that is a very, very big and good change for them. And unfortunately, it's getting highlighted in the midst of all of this.
And so is Detroit. Now, Detroit's number one in the power rankings on NBA.com, but can they handle the spotlight? They sit at number one for a reason. They're 38-13. They got an elite defense, 7-1 versus other top 6 teams. But the fight raises a real question: Can the young contenders keep its composure when teams start coming at them physically, and they failed that on Monday.
Yeah, they absolutely did, and especially with teams like the Knicks that are nipping at their heels. The Celtics aren't as good as they have been, but they're still a very, very good team. Miami also running around in the mix. I mean, there are some good veteran teams out there that are going to give them fits, and if they can't control emotions, can't control tempers, we're back to the bad boys of Detroit again.
Let's go to the Western Conference, where Oklahoma City, Denver, and Minnesota are still near the top of the power rankings, but starting to show some warning signs among Western contenders.
Yeah, absolutely. The Thunder missing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams, blowing big leads, struggling badly in clutch games. The Nuggets have Nikola Jokic carrying a huge load that cannot be sustained. The T-Wolves have made a win-now move and don't look any better off of it. So, yeah, there's a lot of things going on right now for the contending teams in the West.
I mean, they might be deeper than the East, but they're also probably more fragile, and probably the most fragile they've been in years. No team feels bulletproof like they had in the past, and that opens the door for chaos come April for some teams that are starting to trend in the right direction in the NBA. That was clear as day. So, good challenge by Latvia, and they're back underway in Milan. Team USA up 1-0 over Latvia, 12:50 to go in the first. I would imagine this should be a kind of a rout for Team USA. It should. Never know in Olympic hockey. But we talked about that on our latest NHL update with the collision course. And Latvia scores.
Which you'll hear
right on cue.
Wow, there you go.
Let it get loose in front of the net, and Latvia ties it up at 12:35 to go in the first. Still plenty of time left.
Oh, did Austin Matthews get hurt? That'd be interesting.
I didn't see. Couldn't tell.
He was sitting there with the trainer hovering over his shoulder. Oh,
he got hit in the face.
Took a shoulder to the jaw.
That's not fun. Probably doesn't feel good. All right, let's get to what happened with A.J. Preller today. A.J. Preller met with the media, and we got to play some of the stuff for you here to talk about Padres camp. We'll keep you updated on Team USA in hockey, now currently tied 1-1. In the first, it's still 12 minutes left in the first. All right, first thing from it, we already played one clip from A.J. Preller about adding to the roster. Sounded like he wanted to add a bat, something complimentary to Gavin Sheets. But the main question, and a big question for a lot of Padre fans about A.J. Preller, is the contract extension and why A.J. Preller doesn't have one yet. So they asked him, why don't you have a contract extension yet? Here's what A.J. Preller had to say about that. Let Frank pull up the video. We can play the sound for you, but it's fun to play the video. You know, it's fun to play the video. Anyway, so that will be the first clip that we play. And here we go.
How come you don't have a contract extension?
I mean, again, continue to talk to John, and I think again, it's something that like anything, it's like when the time's right, the moment's right. Hoping to line up on something, hoping to have something here that that can focus me back on the field and go from there. But we'll see where it goes in the next couple of days.
How important is it to you? You know that being that your primary thing is building a team and all that, how important is it to you that this gets done, gets out of the way?
I mean, again, to me, like either way, I mean, like ultimately, I'm under contract, so it's I think it's all about putting a team on the field that's going to win, and there's still a lot of work to do in terms of continuing to round out the roster. So that continues to be the focus. Like I've said before, I love being here, love San Diego. Feel good about the work we've done as a group, again, it's something that we still have some unfinished business. So that's really the motivation for for the city of San Diego to go out and win and be a part of it, and hopefully we can do that.
With the contract, how important or is it important that it be settled by opening day? So you're not necessarily going into the season with it being your last one under contract. Does that matter?
Yeah, again, I'm not setting any kind of deadline or anything like that. I mean, I think to me, it's always open just to having conversation and, trying to see if we can work something out. But, I think ultimately, my focus, it's on the team and the field and spring training getting started. That won't change. And, I don't see us setting any kind of deadline or anything like that.
You said at FanFest you were expecting something to get done. There's since been some pretty public developments with ownership, the sale process, or at least the developments going public. Would you say you're still expecting something to get done?
Yeah, no, I think I don't think anything's changed from that standpoint. I think the same sentiments that myself and I know the conversations I have with John. I think I think the same sentiments we've had really throughout the whole off season. I think that hasn't changed at all. Despite not having a deal, I feel like the wanting to be here. I think the intent from the organization for me to be here. I feel like that's all the same, and I think hopefully we can line up on something.
Is there any apprehension on your part, considering you don't know who the next owner is going to be? Is there any merit in waiting to find out who the next guy or woman may be?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think again, like I think that's definitely been an element that's a little bit different. Obviously, when you have your direct boss is somebody that is going to be here, so that's probably something for myself that's at least it's kind of just a different element that's been added to the whole conversation. I don't think that really is going to impact anything, though. I think from the beginning, in terms of like getting a deal done, I think like it's been again it's been pretty consistent, the conversation, and ultimately I think we're either going to do it or not. I don't think it's going to be, hey, we may have a new owner here at some point in time, and in the next few weeks, months, et cetera. So that's what's holding this up. Like that, I don't feel that at all, honestly.
I don't feel that at all either. I mean, the more I hear him talk about this, the more I think AJ Preller's staying for a while. And right now the focus is on getting the team done. I mean, that's my opinion on the matter. It might be a more positive opinion than a lot of fans want, but just because, you have negative opinions out there doesn't mean they're right. I just feel like that's just the case of where they're at right now. I don't think it's a situation of like, well, what about the new owner? I mean, they still got to run the club. And we talked about this yesterday. Frank, how long did it take the Orioles to get the sale through?
What was it, a year and a half?
A year and a half.
There's a lot of hoops you have to go through. It's not like buying a drink at the food store.
Yeah.
There's approvals. You have to get league approval. You have to get ownership approval. You have to get the money together. You have to prove you can get the money together. Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes into selling a major league organization.
That is a long time. And AJ Preller's contract's going to be up before that process is complete. He said it right. He's under contract right now. He's not worried about it. He's got to get it done. And they're going to sign AJ Preller, probably do an extension. And the more he talks about it, the more convinced that I feel like he is going to be the general manager for the Padres on the next term contract. And when did we say we thought this deal was going to happen?
First couple months of the season.
Yeah, during the season. I feel like there's too much moving parts right now with the baseball team that he needs to be focused on and not focused on his own negotiation of his own contract. So that's how I see that. We're going to play more from AJ Preller when we come back. We will get to our midday sports standoff. Take me down some sports trivia, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. If you can call in and take me down in sports trivia, you will be qualified for a shot at 2 tickets to see 9 Inch Nails at Pechanga Arena on March 9th. In the 1 o'clock hour, we're giving away a 4-pack of tickets to Padres to a Padres spring training game, which also enters you to win 4 tickets to a potential regular season game. Stay tuned in the 1 o'clock hour to see how you can win those. But we're going to get to the midday sports standoff and more from AJ Preller when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. For the first time since 2014, the NHL has let players back in the Olympics, and that alone makes this the most important men's hockey tournament in over a decade. No more who's that guy rosters, no more watered down competition. This is best on best, with the league's biggest stars finally getting their Olympic moment. Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Austin Matthews, Sidney Crosby, and yes, the Kachucks. This isn't just an Olympic tournament. This is the NHL reintroducing itself to the world.
Yes, it is, and it's very fun to see. And they're doing this, by the way. They're allowing these players to go to the Olympics in lieu of an all-star game. So you're not going to get an all-star game this year. You're not going to get another Four Nations tournament. These guys have committed themselves to the Olympics. So the NHL has shut itself down for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and this tournament obviously matters. The NHL and its players have fought for years over Olympic participation. Owners hated shutting down the season. Players hated missing the biggest stage in sports. COVID killed it in 2022. Politics removed Russia in 2026, but after the four nations face-off last year lit a fuse under U.S. versus Canada, the league realized something. International hockey still hits different. This is about growing the game, but it's also about legacy. For Connor McDavid, for McKinnon, this is their first Olympics. For Crosby, it could be his last. That alone raises the stakes.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is absolutely huge. And yes, every single time you ask any player, whether it be in soccer, whether it be in baseball, basketball, whatever, when the front of your jersey doesn't say Lakers, when it doesn't say Yankees, when it doesn't say Padres, when it doesn't say Barcelona, it means more when it's your nation on the front of it. It makes you play that much harder. And that's exactly what the Four Nations was able to remind the NHL, is that it's not just that it hits different, it's that it means more to the players playing.
Now, the elephant in the room, of course, is no Russia. And for whatever, for all the reasons of why Russia is not competing, is a different conversation. But just from the on-ice conversation, Russia's absence matters, period. I mean, you can go through the list of stars that are not playing in the Olympics because Russia's not in it. It makes it kind of technically best on most of the best, but it also means something else that's also important. The path is clearer than ever for U.S. or Canada to dominate.
Yeah, absolutely. That means no Kiprasov, no Nikita Kucherov, no Alexander Ovechkin, no Artemi Panarin in the All-Star game. So in the Olympics, pardon me. So that means, yeah, it is. It's kind of more or less the U.S. versus Russia, but we've seen Sweden be very U.S. versus Canada, but we've seen Sweden, we've seen Finland, we've seen Norway be able to play very, very well in these style of tournaments. So you can't overlook, especially those teams. And also Germany has a couple of pretty decent NHLers on their roster.
Yeah, this could be the last Olympics, though, played under the restrictions of not allowing Russia in the competition, which the door is already cracking open for Russia's return down the road, which makes this tournament even more pivotal for countries like the United States and Canada, who look to be on a collision course. Now, Canada, talented, experienced, but they have a goalie problem. Canada's roster is ridiculous. They have so many different names that you see in the NHL all the time. McDavid, McKinnon, Crosby down the middle might be the best center trio ever assembled. Cale Marker might already be the best defenseman alive. They've got skill, snarl, and a championship pedigree everywhere. But the issue is they don't trust its goaltending.
No, and Cale Makar out front can't do everything. You have Jordan Binnington, who was unbelievable in the Four Nations tournament, but he has been unbelievable in the NHL this season. Darcy Kemper, Logan Thompson are upgrades, but compared to what the U.S. has, it's got nothing on Canada. Canada's got nothing on them.
Yeah, Canada's very much a soft spot in terms of the goalkeeping. If Canada loses, it's not because they didn't score, it's because they didn't get any saves. As for Team USA, this is the deepest team that they have ever had.
Yeah, absolutely. Matthew Tkachuk, Austin Matthews, Jack Eichel down the middle. You've got the Tkachuk brothers bringing chaos and confident, and boy, did they bring chaos in the Four Nations tournament. Elite puck-moving defensemen, Connor Hellebuck, Jake Ottinger, Jeremy Swayman in net is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, they've got some of the best goaltenders in the world right now. However, they did leave a couple of big names home.
Yeah, what are some of the names that they left on the offensive side back in the States?
Yeah, Cole Caulfield, Jason Robertson those are big-time young players that unfortunately, because of how deep and how stacked this U.S. roster is, just unfortunately not able to make the trip.
Yeah, they picked a lot of defensive first choices, which asked the question, if the Americans trail late in a gold medal game, can they outscore Canada, or are they built more to just protect leads than to chase them? When could they meet? They're in separate groups, which makes the gold medal matchup possible but not guaranteed. Seeding does matter. Goal differential matters. In Group B, you got Finland and Sweden, who could scramble everything. Mm-hmm. We've seen this movie before. In 2014, Canada and the United States met in the semifinals, not the final, and it sucked. 12:39 on a Thursday. Still waiting to see if this goal is going to stand for Team USA. In the meantime, I want to mention that all of our guests join us on the David P. Shapiro fan hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys, helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. They're challenging this goal on whether or not Miller was in the crease on what was a disgusting redirect goal by Team USA's Nelson. So
Brock Nelson.
Nelson. We'll see
former
if
Islander. I believe he's playing for Colorado right now. The Avs.
Brock looks old on the bench over there.
He is. He's been around for a while.
It's a great goal, though. Let's see if it stands. They're going to make the call here in a second.
Review call. Does he point or does he wave it off?
It's waved off. 2 goals for Team USA has been waved off now today. That's remarkable.
That's frustrating.
It is frustrating. Latvia has challenged 2 goals. Both have been taken off the board. So, interesting.
Does he get a third challenge now, like the NFL?
Probably just. I think Latvia's best chance is just to challenge every single goal. That's because every time they did that so far, they've challenged the other one. They got a goal back immediately. All right, let's get back to AJ Preller here. If you want to participate in the Midday Sports Standoff, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Qualify for a grand prize, 9-inch nails coming to town on March 9th. If you take Mid-On Sports Trivia, you qualify, and then you could potentially win tickets to 9-inch nails. So that will be with the Midday Sports Standoff.
We got a lot to give away in just these last couple of segments. We've got those to give away if you guys call in.
We got our biggest fan.
We've got the biggest fan. We've got the Padre spring training tickets. We've also got Aztec tickets to give away for Saturday night against Nevada.
We got a lot of tickets to give away in the 1 o'clock hour. We'll have trivia questions for those in the next hour. All right, let's get to some more AJ Preller stuff today. So AJ Preller met with the media today. He talked about his contract. We played that in the last segment. They're going to keep asking him until he says he's got one or until there is one. Don't be surprised if he gets asked that again the next time he meets with the media. AJ Preller also talked about some of the catchers and the catching situation for the Padres and if he could potentially add to that group. Not something that we've really talked too much about. Obviously, they have a starting catcher in Freddie Fermin. I think they're going to give Luis Camposano an opportunity. But if that's the case, they still don't really have a set in stone backup yet, nor competition for Luis Camposano. Here is AJ Preller talking about the catching position.
I think most likely, what we have, with the group that's in here competing for me and Campusano, others that Hunt, Duran. I think that's probably our catching group. So like to go sign a catcher and then, move a Campusano into a DH type spot. It's not a zero, but that's we had more opportunity to probably do that throughout the different points in the off season. Ultimately, I think we're kind of looked at, like the value of those of the players we have is behind the plate and catching, and make that as good a group as we can have, and go find some other value throughout other position player additions that we can find on the field. So I don't think it's going to be, we're going to solve our bench complementary bat type player with one of the catchers sliding over, going to a three catcher setup. That's probably not the way we're going to go.
I can't imagine that being the case either. 3 catcher setup. It's very, in order to carry 3 catchers, Frank, one of them's got to be just a badass hitter.
Yes.
And I don't think you have that currently on the open market. I don't think you have that necessarily with Luis Camposano. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see what Luis. This is a make or break year for Luis Camposano.
Yes,
100%
so.
Make or break year. On top of the fact that the obvious is he makes the team or he's cut because he's out of options. He has to make the team this year, or he's cut. That's just the reality of the situation. I mean, he has had a lot of years where he could do that. He's had a lot of years where he's done really well in AAA, but he needs to make the team or he's no longer part of the organization, unless he opts into being a minor leaguer. But I don't know if that's the case.
We got sound on Preller speaking on Campusano.
Yeah, let's get to Campusano next before we get to the current state of the Padres roster. So here's specifically AJ Preller talking about Luis Campusano.
Yeah, I mean, I think last year, obviously, in AAA, he went out and was, played very well. Hopefully, not an easy situation for him. He feels like he's a big league player, and he went down to AAA, but he handled himself really well in that setting. He could have sat there and complained or kind of felt sorry for himself. He went down there and just tried to get better, and he had a great year. I think it's going to help him out a lot here this year. And in terms of I think for us, it's as good a catching tandem as you can have. That's, we want those guys to, between the two of them, they have good skill sets. I think their skills should complement each other. Campy's a super hard worker. Our staff has, he's caught no hitters. He's been on, winning teams a few years ago when we were, I think, the 24 year. And we played better with Campy starting than we did record-wise with Higgy starting. So, he's capable. I think for us, it's you need that catching group and that catching tandem with him or for me to be something that I think when we look at our team this year, that can be an area of improvement for us than having those guys from the start. Expecting him to kind of take what he did at AAA last year and what we've seen for stretches in the big leagues and turn that into consistent performance for us. And that would be that'd be a big addition, honestly, somebody that's already in-house here. So expect him to play a real role for us this year.
He believes he's going to play a big role for him. I think they're banking on that. And I think that's the reason why they're not going to bring in another catcher unless there's a younger catcher that might be making some hay in spring training. I'd like to see the development of Ethan Salas. I mean, they just posted the 97.3 of the fan account, our account on Twitter has been posted. Sam's been out there posting some videos of backfield stuff. And Ethan Salas took one back up the middle against Tristan McKenzie today. So that was out there. And here's the other thing. Don't overreact to some of the highlights of these practices. JP Sears struck out Manny Machado in an at-bat today. Ethan Salas, it went back up the middle to Tristan McKenzie. None of that really matters. They're all getting work in. And it's like the first or second day of pitchers and catchers reporting, right? It's just the pitchers and catchers out there. They're not even doing organized team drills yet. Not everybody's there yet. So,
but see, I understand what you're saying, but how can I say Manny's washed and should be traded if I don't react to every little thing he does?
That's right. Last clip for you.
Harold Reynolds.
On AJ, but Harold Reynolds doesn't think he's washed. Harold Reynolds just thinks he should be on a better team. AJ Preller on how he feels about the current state of the Padres roster this year compared to other years going into spring training.
I mean, I think, again, every year, the last 6-7 years, I think we come in with a team that has the possibility to be a playoff team and has that type of look. So I feel that way when we're getting started right now. I do think some of the work at the trade deadline last year was designed towards, players that are filling holes and guys that, with Laureano and Fermin and Miller and Sears, guys that are going to come in, and don't have as much to do from a roster standpoint of filling 3 or 4 different holes. I think it's been targeted towards, the starting rotation, towards, another bat or so or 2 with Andujar. But I think, similar to past years, I feel like we have a team it's going to be competitive. It's going to, got a real chance to look up and go play in a World Series, go play in October. But we also understand we've got a little bit of work to do to kind of round the team out. I mean, I think, again,
that seems pretty on par with every roster that they've had. I mean, it's a team this is a team that on paper has got enough talent to make the playoffs. It's a team that probably needs to make some additions at the trade deadline. And it's a team that probably could use one more bat and one more arm going into the regular season. That's kind of the team that they've had the last couple of years. And AJ Preller's hit on a lot of those. And he's brought in players during spring training. So I'm still fired up about this team. I think this team's going to have a pretty decent season this year. I really think that they have the ability to do that. But, the question marks still remain the same, right? Injury concerns are a concern. It's a very top-heavy roster in both sides of the pitching side of things as well as the hitting side of things. And there's a lot of question marks with a lot of the players on this team. And there's not a lot out there right now that they can go get to massively improve this team, obviously, either. So It's going to be a little bit of a waiting game. It's going to be going through workouts. It's going to be trying to get a bounce back candidate to have a really good year. And they're rolling the dice on that. That's not like the most conservative approach to putting a roster together, but you know what, Frank, it's worked for the Padres in the past, and that's just the philosophy that they've been able to abide by. And AJ Preller's put together some pretty good teams, taking chances on players, and they're going to have to do that again this year.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's always nice to go in and have a plan and know what you're going to do, but unfortunately, professional sports just really, they're not like that. I mean, you always have to be fluid, you always have to be evolving, and you always have to be willing to take a chance. And it's those people that stack up enough good chances together and that outweigh the rough chances. Those are the teams that win. And the Padres have been very, very good as of recent years at hitting on more of those guys than they have missed. I think last year would probably be the step back in that.
I look at this team, and again, I look at the roster, and I look at a lot of different things going into the season. And the thing is a lot of the concerns are legit concerns, but you still have good players on this team. I mean, I'm pulling up some of the videos that they have shown with, these scrimmages, or really the situation that what are they called? I mean, it's not inter squad. No, it's the batting. It's the live BP. Really?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, and the hitters are not really in full go yet. And I don't know what the rules are on these live at bats, but you're getting live at bats for Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts, Fernando. They have all gotten live at bats against Randy Vasquez today. Sam's doing a good job of posting a lot of this stuff. Jackson Merrill got some live bats today. I mean, Jackson Merrill hit one of the track against Ron Marinaccio. JP Sears got Manny Machado swinging. Randy Vasquez went against those three, the three big names on this team as well. Ethan Salas, I mentioned, working against Tristan McKenzie. And a lot of these live at-bats don't really mean too much. But I will tell you, I mean, a lot of these guys look like they're in a lot better shape. Manny looks pretty good as he comes back from the offseason. But we'll see. With what goes on at spring training, how this team develops. But I'm excited to see this team play. I'm excited to see this team get going. I think watching the Padres play in actual games in spring training, I think that's going to calm a lot of the nerves for Padres fans and get them more excited for the season.
Yeah, it's the fear of the unknown right now, which is absolutely fair to have. I mean, we go through this every single year. You want to get out there. You want to see the team perform. You want to see what they look like. You're getting to see it a little bit earlier this year because of the World Baseball Classic. And I mean, it's certainly, there's a lot of anticipation around this team this year, especially after what we've seen over the last couple of years. The fact that you're more or less running it back from last year. You got some of your big pieces back. You're losing Darvish, but you're gaining Joe Musgrove back in that same breath. So yeah, I understand why there's nerves, but those nerves will be calmed down in the very, very near future. Rest assured.
Did you see this Nick Castellanos parting letter?
I did not. No.
Thanking the fans. He put out a handwritten letter thanking the fans of Philadelphia. And in the process, did a couple of different things.
Oh, no.
He took a parting shot at the media. He also...
Yeah. Okay, he took a parting shot at the media, which means he is not going to New York. So let's rule the Mets out of that.
He did that. He also, he brings up a story about how he acknowledges on Instagram with this post that, because he posted the handwritten letter on Instagram.
Yeah.
He acknowledges that one of the reasons Rob Thompson benched him in Miami in June is that he brought a beer into the dugout after being pulled from the game for defensive purposes.
Not even for league minimum now. I'm sorry. Not even for league minimum now. I don't. Do you really need that in your locker room? Do you really need that in your clubhouse?
Oh my God. It's so funny. It's the rumor that was billowing around behind the scenes for the Phillies was crazy, but the fact that he admitted to he got benched for not taking defense seriously
and thought that was going to babyface him.
And so he comes back into the dugout with a beer and we got to break down some of this written letter by Nick Castellanos in the next hour. Oh man. Biggest fan next. The Nick Castellanos story is crazy. I mean, the Phillies are like a fraternity house. It's insane. One of the older teams in baseball. We got to get into that in a second. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to our YouTube channel at @B_SURP, YouTube.com/@B_SURP. You can also subscribe to the fan account at 97.3 The Fan. On YouTube as well. There's a lot of great content posted up there. We got a ton of stuff on the 97.3 page. We got a lot of stuff on the Braden Surprenant Show page. A lot of that stuff doesn't air on this YouTube show. It also doesn't air on the radio. Extra content for you, all involving San Diego or San Diego spin on a lot of different things. Later on in the show, we are going to get to the Aztecs' new football schedule. We'll get to that. We got more stuff to report on from spring training from Craig Stammen, who met with the media. He addresses the first base situation. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but we're also giving away a ton of tickets in this hour. We have tickets to spring training. We're going to give it away coming up. We got tickets to Aztecs basketball. We're going to give away, but right now it is time. It is time.
It is time.
It is time for today's biggest fan. And after I sneeze,
biggest sneeze.
Yeah, there you go. Foul. That was a good one, but foul.
He draws the foul.
I'll eat that.
You know, that's a hard-earned foul right there. Congratulations, A's biggest fan, William Slutin in San Diego. William Slutin in San Diego. Give us a call in the next 10 minutes, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973, and you'll qualify for our grand prize. 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a Padres game with all the fan staff later this season, catered by Spiro's Mediterranean Cuisine. Remember to register your name at 97 through the fan, sd.com/biggest fan. William Slutin in San Diego. Got 10 minutes, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Okay. You know what? I just read the names that are on the sheet. I don't know where Frank gets these names, but I just read the ones on the sheet. That's it.
And it's not even, and the generator didn't even pop up a normal spelling for William. Willem, William.
How about that? All right, let's get to this real quick. Let's get to this Nick Castellanos thing again. I didn't think it was going to be this funny.
Never been happier to be a Met fan in my life.
This is great. I mean, this is the guy, and you wonder why he was getting cut. I mean, aside from the fact that he wasn't very good last year, but
and making $20 million.
And making $20 million in his last year. He's 33 years old. But aside from all that, so Nick Castellanos got released today by the Phillies. Phillies released him today. There's no way any team puts a claim in for him for $20 million. So the Phillies they released Nick Castellanos. And yesterday we got the news that they told Nick Castellanos, don't even bother showing up to camp. We're done with you. Don't really want you on the team anymore. We're either going to trade your ass or we're going to cut you. We are going to physically pay you $20 million to not play for us ever again. That's where the Phillies are at with Nick Castellanos. Because, I mean, he put up decent numbers last year. Not very good. Not something really write home about. So Nick Castellanos today puts out a thank you letter to Phillies fans and the Phillies organization.
Why anyone would thank Phillies fans is beyond me, but that's not the point.
He hand wrote it and then posted the pictures of the handwritten letter on Instagram. So he shared a handwritten letter. He thanked team executives by name. He thanked the staff. He thanked his teammates. He thanked the fans for 4 memorable years, emphasizing the city's genuine passion for its sports teams beyond media narratives. Had to take a shot at the media there, too. So, yeah, he's not going to New York. You're probably right on that. In the letter, Castellanos detailed the Miami incident, too. So he has the letter, and it talks about all the thank yous, and then he signs off with, with much love, Nicholas. And then there's a separate letter about, and he wrote on the top Miami incident, like it was a story, like it was a story you had to write in creative writing in English class, like in elementary school. It just writes Miami incident.
How do you? I'm seeing the letters now. How did you read any of this?
It's hard.
Bro drew a house.
Yeah, he drew a house afterwards at the bottom of his signature. I mean, Go Aztecs asked if it was written in crayon. No, it's written in pen.
It's written in, what is that? I can't tell what. It's funny because it's like he wrote it and then took a picture.
The second person that's asked if it was in crayon. It was not in crayon.
He wrote it, put the pen down, took a picture, picked up another piece of paper,
wrote the Miami incident.
It looks like a paper mate. Is a paper mate black pen.
Why are you breaking down the details of the pen? You should have just asked Grok.
Someone wanted to know if it was in crayon, so I no, it's not that I can't read calligraphy. It's I can't read chicken scratch, which is what this is.
Yeah, it's not even like cursive. It's just not great. Is it on a napkin? No, he would have made a great deal if that was the case. Would have made a business deal if that was the case. He
looks like he's wearing some sick pinky ring too. Like, what is that?
You're getting distracted by the wrong things. Yes, I am.
Here. I'm very. Yes.
We're losing the plot. In the letter, so he had that letter, but then there's another one. I would not consider this the same letter because he has the thank you to everybody. Media sucks, Nicholas.
Yeah.
And then it had a Miami incident. He details the Miami incident from the prior season. So last year in Miami, he got pulled from a game, and then he did not play the next game, and he was suspended for one game, and people wanted to know what it was, and there was a rumor out there about what it could potentially be. And so what happens now is now that he is cut from the Phillies, he writes about the Miami incident, and he says, I guess from one of my teammates.
Can I read this? Because I want to see how well I can pick this out.
I don't want you to read it.
Oh, okay.
You can read it to yourself right now if you want.
No, it takes the fun out of it.
He details the Miami incident, and he details that one of his teammates in Philly, who is not named, has given him the heads up.
It looks like he was starting to write the name and then scratched it out and said on the team.
So he goes, some media conglomerate. He didn't put conglomerate. I'm paraphrasing here. There's going to be an article about the Miami incident that is going to get released without my consent. And so now I have to give my take on what's going on. It's basically what he says. Do you want to read that part word for word, Frank?
Okay.
So you can your best.
As a veteran of the game of baseball, there are rules, and I broke one in Miami.
I'm telling you, it doesn't make any sense.
After being taken out of something scratched out, close written on top of it, ball game in front of my friends and family, I brought a Presidente into the dugout. I was then sat right next to Rob, looks like Bob, and let him know. I context clues. I got it. And let him know that too much slack in some areas and too tight of restrictions in others are not conducive to us winning. Shout out to my teammate and looks like Howie.
Yeah, it looks like Howie. Was Howie Kendrick on that team last year?
Might have been.
I don't remember Howie Kendrick being on the team
for taking the beer out of my hands before I could take a sip. Parentheses. I appreciate you guys. After the game, I went into the office with Dave and Rob. We aired out our differences. It's funny. He puts the ampersand for and between Dave and Rob, but then writes out our differences and the conversation. Ended with me apologizing for letting my emotions get the best of me. I would like to note that I was ready, I guess, his fingers covering half of it, to share the details of the incident in its entirety to the media the next day, but was instructed not to by management. The punishment I received for my actions was the benching the following game. I love this game. I love being a teammate, and I am addicted to winning. I will learn from this. It's funny. He did a close-up shot of the full page, but then did a wide zoom-out shot of the page that had next to no writing on it, which would have done good with a zoom in. But yeah, that's it.
You're looking okay. Just to translate to anybody in English of what Nick Castellanos said. So essentially, in the letter, Nick Castellanos detailed the Miami incident from the prior season, where frustration after being pulled from a game led him for not playing good defense. Led him to bring a beer into the dugout, in which it was confiscated before he could take a sip by his teammates, resulting in a one-game benching as team discipline.
I love how he wants to go and sit next to the manager
with a beer
in his hand during the middle of a game to say, hey, listen, we're a little too loose. You need to tighten it up a little bit. And the response to that was pretty much, all right, bro, you're out for the next game. Like that's basically what he did. He outed himself in the process of doing this. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I got to go see this play now. I got to go find what game they're talking about specifically. I'm not a Phillies fan, nor do I know, but somebody translated it into the article. As a veteran of the game of baseball, there are rules, and I broke one in Miami after being taken out of a close ball game in front of my friends and family. I brought a Presidente into the dugout. I then sat right next to Rob and let him know. I know, but this is like the actual they translated it for us.
They translated it into English.
Too much. I let him know that too much slack in some areas and too tight of restrictions in others are not conducive to us winning. Makes more sense than us trying to figure out what his chicken scratch was. It was last summer in Miami, the disrespect he felt from being removed for a defensive replacement.
It was the June 16th game against the Marlins.
Okay, so he got upset that he got taken out for a defensive replacement. That's it. It's not like he made a catastrophically bad play. Thompson handled Castellanos very delicately during his 4 seasons here to avoid situations just like that one. And there had to be some frustration on Skipper's side that even though he picked spots so carefully with Castellanos, that was still the result. The player didn't have much of a leg to stand on either, as he graded out as the worst defensive outfielder in baseball throughout most of 2025. Castellanos will now try to latch on with another team and shouldn't have too much trouble. For all his flaws, he could be a right-handed DH option or a corner outfielder for a team in need of one, and will likely be earning only the league minimum from his next club. That was written from the Philadelphia Phillies beat writer for SI.
Yeah. So the incident was during a 5-2 win against the Marlins. Manager Rob Thompson removed Castellanos for defensive replacement Johan Rojas in the 8th inning. Unhappy about the removal, Castellanos made an inappropriate comment to Thompson and brought a beer into the dugout, which was seen as breaking the team rules. Oh, really? Couldn't have guessed that. As a result, Castellanos was benched for the following game, June 17th. More context on this. While initially described as a comment, it was later revealed to be a combination of actions and comments, which he later addressed via social media. God, I love the Mets.
No, you don't.
No, I don't.
Nobody hates the Mets more than Frank does.
No one hates my teams more than me.
Somebody in the chat's like, Diesel, I've never liked Castellanos more. You want to talk about team chemistry? Could you imagine he gets taken out of a game and he's just drinking a beer in the dugout?
He just starts passing out Heinekens in the dugout. Like, what's the Heineken Zero,
official, dude?
What's the official sponsor? Was it Michelob or something? What's the
Major League Baseball? Doesn't Budweiser have all the?
Well, no, for
MLB?
the Padres. Is there not one for the Padres?
They have every beer there. Are they Anheuser-Busch?
I don't know. We should. That's probably really bad of us. We should probably know that.
It's not. I mean, we're not affiliated with that. That's just the Padres deal. And plus, it changes every year. You didn't even know. I mean, it could be a different one this year. Who knows?
Yeah. Juan Ruiz in the chat. At least the Mets have normal issues like injured players, and certainly not, taking women to the bullpen.
Yeah, well,
certainly don't have issues like that. I mean,
this Nick Castellanos thing. This is something you would see in like the movie, like Major League.
Yes.
Like Rick Vaughn just got pulled too early, so he cracks open a beer and he's just hanging out in the dugout drinking a beer with a tank top on. I mean, it's insane. Do you want Nick Castellanos now, Frank?
No. No, I don't.
I don't know. It sounds like a good time. I mean, clubhouse vibe might be through the roof.
Could just waiting at the top step is Nick Castellanos with a Pacifico for Jackson Merrill after he makes a home run rob. Like, yeah, that's a great look.
I mean, you had Hassan Kim puffing lung darts in the dugout. What's the difference? Guys cracking up at a cola. Could you imagine? You're imagine you're watching a Padres broadcast and Don Orsillo's talking to Michael King in the dugout, right? Like they usually do. And some pitcher that's not playing that day just cracks up on a cold Coors Light in the dugout.
Welcome back to the Bo Sox, boys.
Like it's a men's softball league.
Welcome back to the Bo Sox, boys.
833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Davis in San Diego. You're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Davis?
What's up, Braden? I just want to talk about the pitching.
Yeah, we talked about the
Zach
rotation
Allen
earlier. What do you got for us today?
I saw for a little bit that Padres are pursuing Zach Allen, and I think if that doesn't work out, if he gets too expensive or he just doesn't want to sign with us, I think Zach Littell would be a good option. I don't know if you guys talked about this already, but I think Ruben Niebla can fix both of them. Both of them have really good stuff, especially Gallen. His knuckle curve was a problem last year when it used to be his strength. But I feel like if Niebla can fix that, then he could be a really dominant starter.
Davis, appreciate the phone call. We talked a little bit about Zach Gallen. We're kind of like playing our way out of the Zach Gallen conversation just based on like the risk you have to take and the amount of money he's probably going to get. Kevin Acee was reporting that doesn't seem like it's very likely. I think Zach Littell would be a decent little upgrade to the rotation if it's the right price. But as we mentioned, there's not a lot out there there's not a lot out there that's going to be a bargain or a bargain for what you're going to get production wise, Frank.
No, I agree. I don't think, like I said earlier, I think we've gotten past the point where you're going to be signing a reliever because it's just going to be way too much money. And the closer you get to the start of the season, the more leverage you get. And then, it starts to make a little bit more sense, but then you're going to be missing time because he's got to get amped up. So I don't think signing a pitcher at this point is your best option. I think it's going to be a trade.
I think so too. And as Nate in the chat says, get back to class, Davis. Come on, man. I hope Davis did it during his lunch break or something.
Did sound pretty quiet. I'm not going to lie.
I thought I heard kids in the background. Is he in class right now? Come on. What did we say, David? You can't call us during class. Call us after class is over or during a break. Probably shouldn't even be doing it then. All right. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Aztec giveaway. We're going to do that one first. First one to call in and answer today's trivia question. Who is the last team San Diego State beat in the NCAA tournament? Last team San Diego State beat in the NCAA tournament. You call in, you answer that question correctly, you win tickets to San Diego State basketball coming up against Nevada on Saturday, February 11th at Viejas Arena. If you could call in, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Answer the trivia question. Last team San Diego State beat in the NCAA tournament. First one to call and answer that correctly wins the tickets. We'll let you know who wins when we come back. San Diego State did exactly what a bubble team has to do Saturday night. No drama, no stress. 88-54 blowout at Air Force. That matters because last year in the same building, San Diego State nearly lost a game that would have sunk its tournament chances. This time, a 23-2 run, 22 forced turnovers, 60% shooting, the definition of a professional road win.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially against a team like Air Force, who I believe is 3-20 overall. They're winless in the conference. This is a team that a good team needed to beat and really take care of, and they did just that.
And yet, here's the uncomfortable truth, though. It barely moved the needle. I mean, in the Ken Palm, dropped 2 spots, 43-41. In the net, dropped 1 spot, 44-43. That's the bubble life, and that's something that Brian Dutcher knows, and and that's why the reward was in style points. It's a couple of days off because this week San Diego State will be off until Saturday. And this game against Air Force wasn't about Air Force. This was about surviving the stretch run. Upcoming schedule. Here are the teams that you're going to have coming to Viejas Arena: Nevada, Grand Canyon, Utah State, UNLV. Here are the teams, and you have 2 road games left in these 6 games. New Mexico and Boise State. New Mexico and Boise State are both quad 1 games. Now, if you win out, you're going to be the Mountain West champion. There's not going to be no questions about that. If you go 6-1 with the Utah State win in some of these games, then all of a sudden or 5-1, you're going to be an at-large team, and you probably feel safe in that. Anything less, and welcome back to the stress watching of Selection Sunday.
Yeah, you really have to take care of business. And we talked about it in the last update, is that you've got the schedule reversed now. Nevada, Grand Canyon, Utah State, UNLV, you had them all on the road before. Now they're coming to Viejas Arena. New Mexico, Boise State, I feel them losing one of those games on the road. They really should, though, take care of business against Nevada, Grand Canyon, and UNLV, especially at home. You have to be better against Utah State if you want to take home the Mountain West. Bless you.
Only one quad 1 win so far. 3 chances left. Again, we've mentioned, I think you got to go 2-1. This team has to win every game it's supposed to win, which Dutcher admits is harder than catching a big name on a bad night. That's 100% true because you're everybody's target. Now, for BJ Davis, it was a big bounce back game for him. This game mattered a lot for him more than probably any of the other players. Since missing that front end of the 1-1 at Grand Canyon that led to a Grand Canyon victory, BJ Davis admitted that he got to his own head. Numbers backed it up. 5.5 points per game over the 4 games after that. He has shot 26.7%, 1 for 10 from 3, but then came the position switch. And with LZ Harrington shut down the rest to rest his leg, Davis went from scorer to point guard, and that changes everything. Less shots, more decisions, more pressure, but Saturday felt like a reset. 16 points, 7 of 8 shooting, hit the dagger 3 at the halftime buzzer.
Yeah, especially for BJ Davis. We talk about resets for teams. Also, these lesser games, quote unquote lesser games, are also a very good time for a player, an individual player, to reset, and that's exactly what BJ Davis did against Air Force.
Yeah, Dutcher helped by calling plays for him, but now the question is bigger: can BJ Davis score while running the team? Because San Diego State's ceiling definitely depends on that. They get the bye week, they get the health check. Timing couldn't be better. Magoon Guath is going to get reevaluated. LZ Harrington this week is going to get reevaluated. But as much as Dutcher said they look ready, looks don't matter in February. The team doesn't need some hero ball. They need bodies to help finish out this stretch. Now for women's basketball, a little bit different. While the men are sweating out the metrics, the women just continue to keep hammering people. An 81-52 victory over the weekend at San Jose State. They're now 18-4 overall, 12-1 in conference, and have won 14 of their last 15 games, with 4 being in double figures over on the weekend, 4 players being in double figures. They shot 54%, 18 assists. The team balanced, efficient, and ruthless.
Yeah, absolutely. And a 29-point win is not hammered. That's a bludgeoning that they gave to San Jose State. And to be 12-1 in conference, absolutely huge. Also showing they're a very, very good non-conference team as well. Going, 6-3 in the non-conference. So they're a solid all-around team, the women's Aztecs team.
They're leading the Mountain West in threes made, one of the best assisted turnover teams in school history, projected as a number 12 seed, which avoids a true road game in the NCAA tournament. Coach Stacey Terry Hudson put it perfectly: we're not the hunter anymore, we're hunted, and they're handling it like veterans, even though most of their stars are, in fact, sophomores. Next contest, Wednesday at home, Colorado State, a team that you beat 46-44 on the road without making a single 3. It's a different kind of test, but same expectations for the women's basketball team. Now, softball's in action. They started over the weekend. They opened the season with 3 walk-off wins in 4 games, and Jade Ignacio wasted no time becoming a star. She was a freshman and a Mountain West Player of the Week.
Yeah, absolutely. An incredible opening weekend for her. 636 average, a 1.727 OPS, had hits in every game for the Aztec softball team. She was incredible.
Coming up, they got 6 games this weekend. Campbell Cartier Classic, including Baylor and Oregon State. If you want early season juice, that's where it is. Baseball starts this weekend. They're very talent rich, but expectations a little bit poor based on where they came in the media poll, or should I say the coaches poll for the Mountain West, Frank.
Yeah, I mean, it did not look great for them. 7th in the preseason poll in the Mountain West. I mean, that is low for a San Diego State baseball team that's got as much history as it does, especially with Kevin Vance coming in, was a very, very popular hire when he was hired here, bringing 19 transfers, including 13 from Power 5 conferences.
Yeah, the roster screams upside for the Aztecs, but also screams unknown. Advance's focus right now isn't the standings. It's cool.
Go Bulldogs.
Yes, the Bulldogs of
Yale.
They beat Yale. That was the last time San Diego State won an NCAA tournament game. Second round of the 2024 NCAA tournament. They beat Yale 85-57. It's the year after they went to the national championship and played UConn and lost the national championship to UConn. They had ended up having a rematch of the national championship with UConn in the Sweet 16 of 2024. They lost that one 82-52. And then last year didn't make it out of the first four. They lost 95-68.
And Go Bulldogs is what a 5-year-old child said before he got called a midget by Lee Corso.
There you go.
That's what that reference was.
Thank you. So that was the Aztec trivia question. We do have to come up with a Padres trivia question that we will do to give away Padres tickets going into the next break. But in the meantime, we do want to play some sound from Craig Stamp. We have a couple of minutes here.
Oh!
This one's going to stay.
Team USA with a goal. We're going to play that randomly throughout the show. We do have to cut it fast, otherwise we'll get dinged on YouTube for playing Freebird. But Team USA they beat the goaltender for Latvia. They get a 2-1 lead now after they punched one in.
Brock Nelson scores his 4th goal of the game and the first one that counts.
Copyright strike
Calm
on
down,
YouTube, Frank.
Relax. All right.
It's the bit. It's fun.
Calm down. YouTube, you guys are secondary, man. Like we're a radio show first and foremost.
We respect the chat, though. Respect the chat. All right, let's get to some of the stuff from Craig Stammen today. We didn't get to play too much about it. We do want to. We're going to talk about this in the next segment, which means the Pac-12 schedule release, Power Act-12 schedule release, will probably not get played and are talked about until tomorrow. But Craig Stammen had a couple of things about first base, utility guys, what's going on against left-handers. So Craig Stammen, first thing he talked about today, and it's at the very bottom of today's deal, Frank, and your boy Sam keeps posting videos, so have fun scrolling through that. But he talked about Sungmoon Song and how he will get acclimated to playing in the outfield and what kind of role that will be for Sungmoon Song. So we're going to play that in just a little bit with Frank as soon as he's ready to go on that.
Sungmoon's sing song getting ready to go here.
Okay.
The reason why the Islanders traded Brock Nelson is because they were trying to get younger and they were trying to get draft picks for him.
I don't remember anybody asking. New York Mike did. You guys can have your separate Islander podcast if you want.
Calm down, huh?
Here's Craig Stammen talking about Sungmoon Song getting acclimated and getting some reps in the outfield.
What will Sungmoon in the outfield look like in spring? Like, how much work might he get out there?
That's a good question. I think the first step is just getting him an outfielder's glove. Hopefully he bought one, or maybe he can borrow somebody's, and just see what it looks like when he's going after a pop-up from a machine. And then try to coach him up on it a little bit, see if it improves. And then when we feel comfortable with him doing stuff in practice, then we'll put him in a game and see how that looks. Obviously left field here in Peoria is kind of a tough spot with the sun and the glare and the high skies in Arizona. So if he can perform well here in Arizona, feel good about him in Petco Park and any of the other major league stadiums.
Is the best case scenario he's an extra outfielder in 2026?
Yeah, I think best case scenario, he's like our Swiss Army knife that can play everywhere and anywhere. And I think the coolest thing about him is that he's been open to that, one, and wants to do it. Feels like that's a strategic role that he can be placed in, a spot on the team, and a good way for him to be integrated into Major League Baseball and integrated into San Diego Padres. So having guys that are team-oriented, willing to do anything for the sake of us being a great team, like he's already checking all those boxes right away, which is cool.
Sungmoon Song. Got to be the ultimate. That's kind of the role I thought he was going to be, though. The super utility guy, right?
Yeah, more or less.
More or less. I mean, that's why they're going to give him some outfield reps, too. I mean, he's going to be the first guy off the bench, it seems like, especially defensively. What else did Craig Stammen talk about today at spring training? Well, talked a lot about it, Miguel Andujar. 2 separate clips about Miguel Andujar that's going to lead to our conversation that we're going to have in the next segment. But Craig Stammen on what kind of role he envisions for Miguel Andujar after talking about what Sungmoon Song's role would be.
What about Andujar? Where do you envision deploying him in the field or at DH?
Yeah, Andujar's, obviously like his number one trait is being a great hitter, especially against left-handed pitching. We're going to try him out at first base. I think in the field, he's came up as a third baseman with the Yankees, so he's got that in the back of his pocket, and then he's played a little left field. So those kind of 3 spots are where we're looking at for him. But any way we can sneak his bat in the lineup, that's kind of what we're going to try to do.
Could you see him being the primary DH against lefty pitching?
Yeah, I could see him for sure being that. Like, he's going to get a lot of at-bats, whether that's lefties or righties, but, we got a weapon against the left-handed pitching.
Last thing that Craig Stammen talks about is obviously Miguel Andujar, weapon against left-handed pitching, but everybody wants to know, can he play first base? I mean, this is a guy that was brought in to help with the bat side of things, but is he the answer to a complementary piece to Gavin Sheets at first base, a position that Miguel Andujar has only played 4 times? Here's what Craig Stammen had to say about Miguel Andujar potentially playing first base.
With Andujar, obviously he's played some first base, but not a ton of first base. Is the ideal scenario for him a situation where you can, sort of plug him in there at first base with a degree of regularity?
Yeah, I think, we've got Gavin can play first base. He's done really good so far with the stuff that we've seen defensively at first. And we obviously know what he can do with the bat. Obviously he's better against right-handed pitching. He did a little bit better against left-handed pitching last year. So he could be an option to be the everyday first baseman. But, are there days where we got a tough lefty on the mound and we'd rather give him a day off? He's been grinding. It would be nice to have another option to stick over there at first base and then put a guy like Andujar in the lineup, that can mash lefties.
Again, the first base position hasn't been really solidified yet. They really are trying to find different ways to utilize first base, to find different ways to utilize the platoon lineups, right-handed, left-handed hitter. But it's interesting that some of the comments that he made about Miguel Andujar, Frank.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and we kind of knew that Andujar was going to be more of a hitter first kind of guy. But again, I mean, if he could play first base, if he could get Ramon Laureano off his feet for a day in left field, I mean, there are a lot of roles that Miguel Andujar can play on this team. And I think spring training for right now, especially, is that to figure out where he fits best in this team and in this organization right now.
I think so too. And I think it opens the door for him to do a lot of different things and really be a factor with left-handed pitching. And they addressed the need that they needed to. The Padres hadn't been very good at hitting left-handers. They really haven't. And that's been a big problem for them. It's how they got knocked out of the playoffs, if you will. But I look at the overall makeup of this team. I still like it, but it still sounds like they are going to make some moves, make some changes, if you will, and bring in a couple more pieces. They keep talking about it, and we'll see what happens in the future. Now, we got to give away tickets to spring training. And we have a 4-pack of tickets to Padres spring training at the Peoria Sports Complex. And if you win today's tickets, you'll be qualified for a shot at the grand prize, 4 tickets to Padres and Giants at Petco Park on April 1st. Get your spring training tickets now at PeoriaBaseball.com. If you're the first one to call in and answer today's trivia question, you will win the tickets. There have been 5 players. Correction. There has been, 6 players that are all tied for the most starts on opening day at second base for the San Diego Padres. There's 6 of them. They all have made 3 starts at second base on opening day. You call in and give me 2 of them, you will win today's tickets. Name 2 of the 6 all-time leaders in opening day starts at second base for the Padres, and you will win. And I got a hint for you. One of them is an active player on the team. That's your hint. First one to call in to do that will win a 4-pack of tickets to a Padres spring training game and then be qualified for a shot at the grand prize, 4 tickets to Padres and Giants at Petco Park on April 1st. 6 players, need only 2. Most opening day starts at second base for the Padres. You give me that, you can win some tickets. We'll go to break. Time for our UCSD Tritons sports update of the week. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant from the Braden Surprenant Show, which you can listen to every single day on 97 through the Fan from 10 to 2. Be sure to follow us for more content. Hit the subscribe button so all you Triton fans out there can get your weekly updates on the sports. If you haven't done so already, it's it's down below. You can just hit subscribe next to the name of the YouTube page. If not, go to youtube.com/@B_SURP for B Serp. Follow me on social media at the same handle and follow Frank Marchese at Frank Z. Sorry, Frank MZ. Frank Marks. Frank Marks. F Marks.
FMARKZ324.
F Marks 324. F Marks 324. Which I knew the thing was. I didn't know. I forgot the little play on words that you had before.
Yes.
Marchese.
Yes.
Which is creative. Let's get to the Tritons update, if you will. Starting with men's basketball, they're starting to slip even more. When we first started doing these updates, they were right there, a game out of first place. Now they sit at 6-7, coming off of a 72-67 loss at Hawaii.
Yeah, that game against Hawaii was not a great showing. Another deep hole that they dug. We talk about it with the Toreros men's team. Wasn't quite that bad. 11-0 was still pretty bad against the Hawaii team. Really turned it around, though. Tom Beatty led with 14 points. Bull danged it. And Alex Shakin both had 11. So they started to claw back in, but it was ultimately not enough.
Now for UCSD, the question is, can they turn some of these close road losses into wins down the stretch of Big West play? And they're going to have to if they want to get a better seed in the Big West tournament. Now, the Big West tournament's not as extreme as the West Coast Conference tournament. It's more of a traditional looking tournament, which I think the West Coast Conference is going back to once Gonzaga leaves the conference, but we'll see how that plays out. As for the women's basketball team, again, another women's basketball team in town doing a lot of damage. They're 17-6 on the year and 12-1 in Big West play after beating Hawaii 59-46 to extend their win streak to 5 games.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've done a fantastic job. Aaron Condren, 12 points, 5 boards, 3 blocks. Both Rose and Condren are dominating right now. Tritons now have the best Division I start in program history, 12-1, 17-6 overall. Both the men's and the women's this week, Thursday and Saturday, will both be playing UC Davis and UC Riverside. The women will be on the road. The men will be at Lion Tree Arena.
Michaela Rose had a program record 9 steals in the win against Hawaii, where Rose and Condren have both won the UCSD Athletes of the Week. So another good showing by the UCSD women's basketball team. As for baseball, in a very competitive Big West Conference, they will start up this weekend, just like everybody else is in college baseball. J.C. Allen and Michael Crossland have been named to the Big West preseason coaches team, but they have been picked, the Tritons have, to finish 6th in the preseason poll and what should be a very competitive Big West Conference this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not going to get off to an easy start for the Tritons either, opening up against UCLA at UCLA. So a very, very tough stretch for UC San Diego right off the get-go.
Yeah, they got UCLA February 13th to the 15th, 3-game series up in Los Angeles. And then they're part of the Tony Gwynn Legacy Tournament. San Diego State, UCSD, and USD all host. The schedules are relatively the same for all 3 teams because of the teams that are coming to town, and you don't want to play teams in your conference and yada, 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 yada. But UCSD will play over the course of February 19th to the 22nd. they're going to be playing BYU. They're going to be playing Utah. They're going to be playing Creighton. They play Western Michigan. And then the following Tuesday after that weekend, they're going to play USD at home too, get a little local flair as well. So interesting start to the season for the Tritons in baseball, but a very highly contested start to the season for 17 newcomers joining the 2026 roster, including 10 freshmen and 5 transfers. So a lot of new faces, but that's been the common scene for all the teams in town that we've talked about here in college baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of new names coming in. We spoke before about San Diego State having 19 players come in, but a lot of recruited players coming into UCSD, which is the big difference.
In softball, they have already gotten underway. They started last weekend. Freshman Bella Sedembro named the Big West Freshman of the Week. She had 7 shutout innings in the circle and a win and a save in the La Jolla Invitational. Tritons finished the opening week 4-1. Best start in Division One for them in Division One. Lauren Roselle and Sedembro combined for a near no-hitter versus St. Louis, a 3-0 victory. Upcoming, they got Utah Tech on Thursday, and then over the weekend, they're going to have Weber State, Boise State, Farley Dickinson, Colorado State, Friday through Saturday as part of these early season tournaments for softball. But good to see that UCSD has also gotten off to a good start, just like the Aztecs and the Toreros.
Yeah, absolutely. And for UCSD, if you want to
us on David P. Shapiro fan hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorney, is helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime. Since 2010, visit davidpshapirolaw.com. We're broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how, and we know how Team USA is doing. There it is. 3-1 lead for Team USA, 2:11 to go in the second period. They have outshot Latvia 30-11. It should have been their 8th goal of the day. They have had a couple of irons that they have hit. They have also had 2 wiped off the board after challenges. But Team USA is starting to settle in a little bit here in hockey.
see you in YouTube chat, didn't get Freebird that time. So thank one. Thank one, no Freebird.
So, Team USA up 3-1 in the Winter Olympics here in Game 1 for Team USA. Good to know. We will keep giving you updates as the game progresses, but this is our final segment of the show. Today's trivia question to win Padres tickets. And who won the tickets?
I don't know why I ever think to do this.
You're gonna do it by name, by the way.
Keely was the
Keely
winner.
and Santee.
Yeah, there it was.
Today's trivia question. There are 6 players. It's really only 5 because one of these is counted wrong. There are 5 players that are tied for 3 opening day starts.
Who's counted? Wait, what?
There's 5 players.
We got one of my trivia questions now. Is that what we're doing here?
Well, one of them.
We got to start throwing. Tomatoes at you.
One of them doesn't count because Bip Roberts only made 2 starts at second. Or no, he did. They did count it right. They did count it right.
Oh, okay.
Because there's Dave Roberts also made a start at second base for the Padres back in 1973. Not that Dave Roberts. So I wanted to make sure it was right because I counted Roberts 3 times and I'm like, well, one of them's Bip and one of them's not Bip. But they did it right. So there are 6 players that are tied for the most opening day starts at second base in Padres history. Name 2 of them. And the hint was one of them is an active player. They scored again. All right. Team USA takes a 4-1 lead. 32 shots to 11 shots.
11 seconds left in the second period. So, folks, you won't have to worry about that again.
Yeah, they're going to go to a 20-minute intermission, and Gwen and Chris can play the sounder for you if they want. They probably won't, but I digress. Team USA is starting to pull away here.
We're children with buttons over here.
You're a child that likes to push buttons. Anyway. All right, 6 players for the Padres that have made 3 starts at second base on opening day. Name 2 of them. The winner got Jake Cronenworth, and Mark Loretta. Do you want to guess the other ones?
Well, apparently Bip Roberts is one of them.
Bip Roberts is one of them.
Jed Jerko?
Jed Jerko is one of them. This player was the starting second baseman on the 1998 World Series team.
That doesn't help me specifically. I was on the other side of the country at that point.
You were also like 5.
Exactly.
He started 3 years in a row, 97, 98, 99. He's standing on first base when Tony Gwynn hits that home run at Yankee Stadium in 1998.
Again, your
name starts with a Q. His name is Kilvio Veras.
Yeah,
Kilvio Veras
would not have gotten
is on
that.
the list. And then the last one is not Bobby Bonilla. It's Juan Bonilla. He's the last one on the list. Jerko, Loretta, Bonilla, Cronenworth, Roberts, and Veras are all the second basemen have made the most starts on opening day at second base. Jake Cronenworth probably could have beat that if he got a start at second base in 2024 and 2023. Jake Cronenworth has started 5 straight opening days for the Padres. How about that?
How about that?
He's one of the only guys that do that. Machado has started 7 straight opening days. 6 of them have been at third base. One of them has been at DH.
Someone said the better Bonilla. Is he really the better Bonilla? Because you remember the other one.
We remember the other one because of the Mets,
It's
not
a joke.
necessarily
Yeah,
because
exactly,
of how
because
good
it's
he
a
is.
joke. Yeah. So is he really better? Is he really better if you remember him? If you forgot the guy? Or
Here's a trivia question for you. You might be able to get this one because the Padres have only had a DH since 2020.
Mm-hmm.
In 2021, they did not. Can you name the DH? Starting DH on opening day has been a different player every single time for the Padres. Can you name the 5 opening day DHs for the Padres?
Really don't like me, do you?
It's so cruel to have you answer trivia questions of not your hometown team.
Yeah, we're just exposing the stupidity here is all we're doing.
Well, you know one of them because I just gave it away.
I think we've established I don't listen to you. I'm trying to work. Was Hayward one of them?
No, Hayward started in. Hayward didn't even start. on opening
Carpenter?
day. Matt Carpenter's one. Give yourself a ding.
Thank you. Yay.
One of.
Gurriel?
Gurriel was last year's. Give yourself a ding. Still haven't even said the one that I told you, and I told you yesterday.
Nelly?
No. Nelly's not. Give yourself an X. You got...
We said that Tyler Wade played third base. Was Manny on the roster to start the year?
Yes.
Oh, so there you go. So
Manny was the DH. That's the guy that you were looking for. So you have the last 3. You need the 2022 DH and the 2020 DH.
Is it someone like Cordero or Framil Reyes or something?
No. One of these players is currently a free agent and was rumored to be available for the Padres to play first base. He was the 2020 starting DH. Aztec for life. Ty France.
Okay.
Ty France. Give yourself an X. Last one. 2022 was in the Juan Soto trade.
Would not have been...
Hit a playoff home run at Petco Park, but not in a Padres uniform. In 2020.
Was it?
Had a big year in 2020.
It was,
and I don't think he's played. I don't think he's played in the big league since.
Oh, then no. Oh, was it Voit? Maybe?
Luke Voit. Wow. 4 out of 5 ain't bad. Round of applause. Frank Marchese. There you go. Some Padres trivia today. I still got to come up with a trivia question for tomorrow for tickets, obviously, but Like I knew nobody. That's unfortunate. Let's real quickly talk about the Miguel Andujar situation. I mean, I liked what Craig Stammen said about Miguel Andujar. I like the idea. And everything keeps circling around Miguel Andujar starting against left-handed pitching and being a platoon piece. And it sounds like he's going to be a DH. They might work him out at first base, but a little bit more clarity today when it came to Miguel Andujar. And so as I look at the Miguel Andujar situation, Sungmoon Song, I am a little surprised. I thought Sungmoon Song was going to be a utility player, but just in the infield, sounds like they're going to give him outfield opportunities. And what this organization has done and what this organization continues to do is they continue to get versatile players and players that can play in a lot of different positions. I mean, this is a team that has been built on just acquiring shortstops. I mean, how many shortstops does this team still have? They got a handful of shortstops still on this team. Have 2/3 of their outfielders shortstops. Their entire infield, except for Gavin Sheets, is a shortstop. A very versatile team. I mean, that's kind of where you want to make your hay when it comes to the Padres. Put together the team that could do a lot of different things and played a lot of assets. We heard from AJ Preller earlier today, still working on potentially bringing in a starting pitcher. He was thinking a little bit more on the sense of bringing in a player on the offensive side of things to get a piece that complements Gavin Sheets. That's why I still don't think that Miguel Andujar is going to be a platoon player at first base. I really think they're going to bring somebody else in to potentially do that. But the more we talk about this, the more I feel like it's going to be more of a trade, Frank, than it's going to be a free agent pickup.
Yeah, I don't see, you're at a point now where if you were going to sign a big name or somebody that was going to genuinely help you at the trade deadline, during the offseason, it would have happened already. I think this is looking more and more like an AJ Preller trade in the middle or towards the end of spring training than it is a signing.
I think so too. I just what is available to you on the free agent market, what you have to pay for in order for that to be the case. I don't think it's good value. Again, we talked about this earlier in the week. You're looking for value on the open market, and again, there's only a handful of free agents that are still left. I think from a pitching standpoint, a Zach Littell would be an interesting bang for your buck in terms of a pitcher that you could bring in. But again, you're looking at like projected WARs for next year. The guys that are left are mostly pitchers. The highest level player in terms of position player that's still available, expected to get the highest WAR according to Fangraphs, is Ramon Urias, who played for Houston last year. He's 32 years old. He's expected to get a 0.9 WAR. And then it's Tyro Estrada, who's a second baseman. Keep going down the list. Your top first baseman, Nathaniel Lau. He's 30 years old. He had a 0.8. He has a 0.8 projected WAR for next year. Next guy is Luis Rengifo. And then it's Jesse Winker. And then it's Christian Vasquez. And then it's Mike Tauchman. I mean, these are players that, would be some help, but not necessarily guys that are really going to move the needle for what you have to pay to bring them in. That'll do it for us on a Thursday. Look forward to talking to you guys on Friday as we discuss a lot of things in the baseball world. Gwen and Chris coming up next.